welcome to the Beetle and Grimm's Pandemonium Warehouse Shopping Network. Shipping Goblin Bob here is going to tell you all about our new Platinum Edition. It's my favorite.
Thanks, George. Friends, are you tired of putting a cat, a flask of poison, and a source of radiation into a sealed box and having to settle for a cat that's dead or alive? Well, Beetle and Grimm's Pandemonium Warehouse has the product for you. Introducing the Schrodinger's Cat Platinum Edition. With the Schrodinger's Platinum Box, you can have both versions of your pet at the same time. Free yourself from objective collapse and enjoy a cat that simultaneously exists in two decoherent realities. It's time for atomic indeterminacy to enter the macroscopic domain. It's time for Schrodinger's Cat Platinum Edition.
Yeah. She's totally dead. But totally alive.
Only from Beetle and Grimm's Pandemonium Warehouse. Simultaneously available and sold out now.
In a world wrought with demons, going to hell is the only way to get redemption. 5 adventures, 1 mission. This spring, join us as we descend into Avernus, the first layer of hell. Action, fire, brimstone. If you make a deal with the devil, you better be prepared to dance. Band of Badgers, Descent into Avernus, coming this May.
It's saying in the chat that they can't hear us.
Is this better? Can we hear us now?
No voices.
No voices.
I've just been gesticulating.
That's my fault. I forgot to press the go button. I was that excited. I forgot to press the go button. I'm so sorry.
I can't hear any voices apart from the ones in my head.
We got all of the technical difficulties out in the beginning. We have rolled that out.
Running this Mickey Mouse
Let me
outfit.
turn the music down.
What have I gotten myself into?
Let's start that again. That was my fault.
Then,
you know.
that was a wonderful trial run, wasn't it, everyone?
Mickey, no,
And
we
for
ate
the
Mickey
audience-
several times ago.
And for the audience, you will never know what I just said. So have fun ruminating on that.
And
Anyway,
we're back.
all those terrible secrets aside that I'm sure will definitely have no consequences in the future ever whatsoever. Welcome back, everyone, to Band of Badgers. My name is Elle, happy to have you all here, and today we will be diving again into VAESEN, the story of King Hunt. And today we will be delving into our second mystery, Silver of the Sea, written by the ever wonderful Freeleak. But of course, I won't be doing this by myself today because that would be silly. I am joined by my incredible cast of characters. I will go around each one of them and they can introduce themselves to you in whatever manner they see fit, including internet, place, and pronouns if appropriate. So let's start with plasticity today, shall we?
Hello. Not much to say. Plasticity is the name. I'm Seb, but to friends, family, and everybody here. A lot of the time I play the honorable, kind of, sort of, maybe Dr. Angisalo, and I'm happy to be here tonight. I don't have anything else to say about myself.
And Joe.
Yeah, my name's Joe. I'm a good demonist, and I play the wonderful Father Pavel, who's just a happy-go-lucky type of chap.
And wonderful Holly.
Hello, I'm Holly, and I'm playing Esther, the definite cinnamon roll that has nothing to hide.
Not at all.
Yeah, I'm also in the air, and yeah, you can find me on YouTube and various other places.
And Stacey.
Hi, I'm Ree, or Romeo Indigo Echo, almost everywhere. My pronouns are she, her, happy with those. I by playing Ingrid. She's an occultist. She lives in the woods. She's probably going to be Father Pavel's future wife. Because of how much they argue. It's going to be great.
Yeah,
If church
basis
has
for a
told us
perfect
anything.
relationship.
Perfect relationship.
Absolutely. And we are, of course, joined by our wonderful special guest today, the amazing Jay STILIPEC. Please introduce yourself to the crowd, Jay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jay STILIPEC. My pronouns are she, her, and they, if you want to get funky. And I am the creator of Better Backstories, but also a prolific role player, gamer, and I have a Twitch, all that jazz, 1Z22.
Amazing. And once again, hi everyone, I'm Elle, he, him, and good and chaotic pretty much everywhere. I'm very unimaginative. And today I will be taking you through the north. But before we do any of that, thank you to all of our supporters, including Beadle and Grims and the wonderful Free League, who published this amazing story that we'll be running you all through today. Stick around for some stuff that's happening on Badgers, such as the podcast on Podbean, written by the wonderful Chris, joined by many, many guests. And we will be giving away a copy of the VAESEN core rulebook at the break and talking to Jay about better backstories, and it's going to be a riot. But now, in the meantime, we are diving into a bit of a spooky tale. And because of that, we have a little bit of a mechanism up. When things get a little too dark, when things get a little too gross, when things get a little too potentially OC triggering, I will flash these lights red. At that point, if spooky or too grimdark is not your bag, baby, please go and get a cup of tea or step away from the stream for a bit and then come back when you're good and ready. I promise all will be well. We do not deduct points for that shit. Well, not to your face, anyway. So, without any further ado, I think it is once time, again, to get into the Mythic North. Are we ready, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it as if we're ever ready? Yes.
Not wrong. So, as we draw our scene to a beginning here today, we once again meet our Thursday's children at Castle Gillenkreuz in Uppsala. We find our Thursday's children having had the chance to recover a bit from the events of the Witch Cat Inn haunting. Sophia, your new adopted child, maybe, question mark, has elected to stay with you at the castle, and she seems to have recovered massively from the events herself. No longer are there sort of massive bags under her eyes, and after a couple of weeks of Frisk's cooking, she's begun to look a lot healthier and a lot more sprightly. She spends a lot of her time either helping Esther in the newly found occult library that you discovered last time, or running around with Tova in the garden. It is now October, and the turn of the month was very quick to bring about an intense frost. Every morning sort of provides a challenge for the fires of the castle to keep the claws of winter at bay, but for the most part, you're comfortable. It is on one such chilly early October morning that you wake and eventually gather in your kitchen for breakfast. Sort of a spread of coffee and tea, homemade foods there to greet you, stoves warmth, glows, casting a very kind ambience over the place, and the castle settling around you in that way it does. As you eat, and Tova chases her tail in the corner of the kitchen, there's a knock at the door. And Frisk, who has been there sort of putting out plates of food, sort of looks at you and says, "Oh, well, appears we have a guest already. I'll go and see who it is." And goes out to the main hallway. You hear brief conversation for a moment. You do also hear a very familiar voice answering them, a loud sort of snot-nosed voice that snorts loudly on occasion and demands answers before the door is once again slammed shut and Frisk re-enters. And he says, "So, we had that the courier visiting today, and they brought this for you. Seems important." And he does hand you, Father Pavel, a letter.
Okay.
Last time we handed Ingrid a letter, she ate it.
This is why she is not getting the letters anymore.
I'll open it, obviously.
Yeah.
Have a read of it.
Yeah. So it's a piece of what seems to be journal paper in this envelope as you sort of steam it open and take a look inside. The note inside reads as follows. "Friends, an old acquaintance of mine has found themselves in a spot of bother and could require some help. I'm swamped with casework at the moment and find myself unable to leave Uppsala. If you have a moment to offer your help to the poor soul and are of mind for a seaside getaway, I'd be deeply grateful. Should you be of mind to help, I'll be at my office. Please come by at your earliest convenience. Kind regards, Detective Inspector Knight."
Looks like Inspector Knight is needing our assistance once more. At least this time we're not going into the forest.
Where are we going?
Seems like a beach.
The beach? Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
you all might overestimate the abundance of beaches in this particular area.
Oh, I've never been to the beach before.
It's great.
Or maybe we are going far away.
You
What
could
does
drown.
it say? It's called baptism, Ingrid. You don't actually kill them.
Oh my god, Ingrid, you can't just ask people why they're baptized.
That's it. I'm dead. Ingrid's deceased. Good night.
Yes,
Then I
as
shall have
you-
to get my tools.
As you're all discussing this, Frisk sort of looks over your shoulder and says, "Night, eh? Friend of yours?"
Acquaintance.
Yes.
Occasional friend. It depends a little bit on where the mood takes us and him.
Oh, I see. Well, some of the best kind of acquaintances, don't you agree?
Quite. You know of this person?
No, unfortunately not. Haven't had the pleasure.
He seemed to have had some regards of contact and relation with the former owner of the castle.
Really?
In case that would ring a bell.
Oh, well, perhaps
Yes.
I shall have to go and meet him myself then.
Perhaps.
See if it jogs a bell. Well, let me know if you should need any help finding your things or anything of the like. I will, of course, be about my duties. Good day. And he does sort of give a little bow and bimble his way into the rest of the castle.
Good, Herr Frisk?
Hello. Yes.
It would actually be very good if we could find you later before our departure, if you could help to prepare some of your most excellent sandwiches for us on the go.
Oh, of course. I shall get on that right away. Yes.
Oh, and some biscuits for Tova.
Oh, and absolutely. I'll put a fresh batch in now. Yes. I do have some leftover mixture. Don't tell anyone. And he does sort of turn his back on you and head back into the kitchen.
Every time she says biscuits, I raise my hopes, and then I realize it's still for the dog, which is good, but it's not for me. That is sad.
Well, we can make you biscuits. Okay.
I appreciate the thought, Esther. So, we're going to the sea, or to a lake, or not to the forest. That means probably the sea.
Well, we said the beach,
Father
right?
Pavel said beach. If there is no
They did
beach.
say the beach on the letter, right?
It said a seaside getaway.
Yeah.
No more than that.
If there is not beach, I will be disappointed.
Well, it'll be beside the sea, so hopefully a beach on.
I'm
or
going
a-
to
or a
pack my
cliff.
swimsuit.
It raises questions that I do not want
It
answered.
just kind of does this strange sort of hop up the stairs, like high knees it up the stairs, like taking every 2 steps instead of every one to get up the stairs to go and pack her swimsuit.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, sure. You all sort of depart from your little gathering and begin to pack up various things, sort of preparation, the immediate preparation, you're not exactly sure what you're facing yet. But eventually you do find yourself coming back into the main foyer and making a way into Uppsala proper. Hello, Dr. Enki.
Yes, well, since there's been a bit of a time since our last little venture into the great unknown, would there be, faced with this new venture into what I can only be presumed to be an even greater and an even more unknown, time to acquire a material resource?
There will absolutely be a time for that, yes. Hold fire on that briefly, though.
Will do.
You will sort of make your way out of the castle and back down towards the regular day of Uppsala. Here is it's maybe about 10 a.m. now. Sort of the morning mists aren't as abrasive anymore. It's not as chilly as it once was. The sun is making an attempt to break through the clouds, not doing very well, but you appreciate it trying all the same. And you eventually find your way into where Detective Knight's office is. Now, you haven't been there yet, but you've been around Uppsala enough to know where to find the address. And as you walk further into the part of town where you know how to find his office, the area gets more dilapidated and more unkempt. This area of town has not seen funding for some time, and it shows. The office of Detective Inspector Knight, specifically, is above a dilapidated little bookshop crammed between two similarly run-down establishments, one of which seems to sell cigars and the other is completely boarded up. The bookshop itself, Furthest Venture Tomes, seems to sort of cringe into itself as if it's trying to separate itself from the claustrophobia of the two other skinny alleyways on either side, defending it from the other buildings. One such alleyway holds a rickety staircase that creaks as you walk up it and leads you up to the first floor of the bookshop, where there is a door with a boarded up window and a hanging sign nailed into the wall beside the door that says Night Investigations.
Ah, yes, a professional establishment. For a professional man.
I think we've been meaning to get a sign, but people seem to label us without it anyway.
We could get a sign.
Are we going to stand outside this man's door?
I'm waiting for Father Pavel to knock.
Yeah, me too.
He received a letter.
I'm definitely not distracted by other books.
Amazing. As you knock, it seems to give slightly under your hand, Father Pavel, and creak inwards, and you hear the familiar voice of Knight say, "It's open, I think." And as it creaks open, he's like, "Oh, yeah, cool." And it creaks open the whole way to reveal a small office illuminated by what little natural light finds its way through the sort of aged windows, or is provided by the few lanterns and cracks in the walls, including one near the door that is surrounded by the telltale residue of gunpowder. It's sort of a very distinctive hole there. There are no prizes for guessing how that happened. Knight sits behind a desk piled high with paperwork and writing equipment. There's an open briefcase at his elbow displaying a pile of well-organized files and folders. And there's a door in the back leading into what seems to be a sparsely decorated apartment. Furthermore, sitting in front of the desk, holding a chipped mug of coffee on one of the 5 mismatched seats, is a young man. Jay, could you please describe your character for us?
Yes, my character is a young gentleman wearing a tweed jacket with the gray patches on the sleeves. He's wearing round glasses and has a very bookish look about him, kind of like the gentleman from Atlantis, The Lost Empire. I forget the character's name.
Milo Thatcher.
And he's holding a large book in his hand. It's leather bound and has lots of little like bookmarks and tabs on it. And he's sitting there kind of nervously with the mug, just like he's afraid to sip it a little bit.
Yeah, as you sort of sit there with this mug, Chester, he's made an attempt. Detective Knight has never been a prodigy with a kettle, and today it shows. He seems nervous, and when he gets nervous, his culinary skills suffer. But as you all walk in, Esther and Ingrid, you do actually recognize Chester as being the clerk that helped you out at the university library prior to the last mystery at the Witch Cat. And Chester, as you observe these strangers entering the room, you had been told, obviously, that strangers were coming, but you hadn't been told that you would know 2 of them, specifically the 2 of them who came to the library asking you about shadow theaters.
Oh, hello! So good to see you again. It's been a while, has it not? How did all the research go? It's everything on the up and up. I hope. I do have plenty of better items that I could procure for you if you ever return to the library. Very good to see you again. How are you? Tea's delicious.
He smells like you, Esther.
Yeah, the books were great. We'll be getting them back as soon as possible, and yeah, I'm sure we will go back to the library soon to research many things. Books
wonderful. I love books much better than people. You know, they say what they mean, but they're still full of mystery.
Sort of Detective Knight looks between the 2 of you for a moment, the 3 of you, and is there like, oh, you know each other?
A little.
I mean, they have come to my place of business, and I assisted them a little bit. So there's the familiarity. I mean, I wouldn't say friends, but acquaintances. We've seen each other once before.
Well, good enough for me. Well, come in, sit yourselves down, shut the door. Cup of tea, anything, cake? I haven't got any cake. I lied. Sorry. Yeah, you very much.
We have biscuits. It's fine.
No, that dog. Okay.
Okay.
It's,
Well,
we
no,
come
we
off
have
the back of the
biscuits.
letter that you sent us.
Yeah, thank you for coming so quickly. I'm sorry I couldn't be more specific. I'm kind of in a bit of a rush. But am I not, honestly? But yeah, I had a letter come in from a friend who's a long way away, and well, he could use some help. And you lot were honestly the best people I could think to do it. Chester, I trust you. We've worked together before. And the rest of you, well, from what I hear from my friend Selby, you did some amazing work at the Witch Cat. So I dare say this will be a walk in the park for you after that shenanigan. Here, and he does root around at his briefcase briefly and hand you a note, probably to Esther. Esther, you receive a note. And I will show this to you on the Roll20.
Okay.
And it does say, I assume you're reading this out loud to everyone, so I will just espouse it. It does say, to whom it may concern, my name is Jeremias Udgren, priest in the fishing village of Fjalbacka. It is with a heavy heart that I write these lines. I'm at my wit's end with my current predicament, and so I turn to you. I met with members of your exalted order during my studies in Uppsala years ago, including Teddy Knight, and now I place my hope in your particular talents and expertise. My best friend and mentor, Vicar Carl Eric Hedquest, is dead. His body was found a week ago, washed up on the beaches of Fjalbacka in the archipelago. The coroner has identified the cause of death as a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head and written it off as a suicide. I refuse to accept this conclusion. I know something else is afoot, and I know it's unnatural, and I know who is responsible. What I lack is the proof and the means to do something about it. I last saw Carl Eric alive 1 week before he was found dead. He was once again heading out to that Wrecker Isle in the archipelago to bring the word of God to those depraved seafarers frequenting the inn on the island. Wrecker Isle is a hub for maritime traffic and the site of the largest herring saltery in the archipelago. Some days the sea lane is so clogged with boats and ships that people can walk halfway across them all the way to Fjalbacka. Wrecker Isle reeks with herring and sin, and it is a godless stain on this earth. The proprietors of this den of thieves, Heron Baron Zacharias Amundsen and his mother, Abella, whom the locals call the Godmother, are openly defying the teachings of the Lord and have thrown out the good vicar every time we visited. I'm convinced that the Herring Baron and the Godmother, along with Zacharias' feeble-minded but dangerous older brothers, Paul, Pete, and Pace, are doing the devil's bidding and to blame for Carl Eric's death. I will go to Wrecker Isle to file proof of their guilt themselves, but I'm worried. I require assistance in this perilous endeavor. If you cherish your God and wish to help his humble servant in this time of great need, meet me in Fjalbacka at your earliest convenience. Please, I need your help. With kindest regards, Jeremias Ugdren.
Sure.
Before you say anything, Ingrid, a man died.
Ingrid,
Yes.
stop
Yes.
talking.
Was actually a friend of mine. It's a little upsetting. But there we go. Time and tide, I suppose. Either way, I would appreciate it if you could give me a hand here, helping out and just sort of find out what's going on. I obviously don't do anything to put yourselves in danger, but
Oh yes, avoiding danger is very, very important. I would like to keep all the fingers and toes. It's good for counting books and turning pages, of course.
quite agreed, Chester.
Technically, you only need 2 for that.
Oh, Ingrid.
No, as with most cases, the more the merrier with that kind of thing.
That makes him very.
She's joking, Chester. She's joking.
Oh yes, of course. Right, the joke with
Yes.
the humor and merriment. Yeah, I've read about it very many times.
Yes. You were joking, right, Ingrid? Don't answer that. Anyway, you have, well, goodness, what time is it? He sort of pats his waistcoat and brings out a pocket watch, flips it open. You have a few hours, perhaps, before the stagecoach leaves for the south. Unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit of a long journey, as you can tell with kind of landlocked here, but there is a stagecoach that will lead you to Gotha Canal, and then you'll take a boat down Gotha Canal, stagecoach from there to Fiarbacca, and it's a whole thing. But luckily, the priest is actually covering all expenses for this one, because goodness knows I can't. But yes, you have a few hours to prepare. But do you have any questions you would pose of me before I escape to do my work?
Could you put the letter back up onto the Roll20 so I could have another look at it?
Yeah, of course I can. I will actually just.
Can I get the Roll20 link? I apparently have the wrong one.
It should be in the pinned post in the Band of Badgers chat. Should be, I say, with undeserved confidence. I will double check that for you now.
You said this person, this late Reverend Hidchrist, was it?
Indeed.
Was
Carl
an
Eric.
associate of yours, yes?
Ooh, right.
Did you know him for a long time before this unfortunate news?
Kind of, yes and no. Our relationship was, shall we say, spotty. He didn't quite approve of, well, the things myself and my compatriots would do as a day job. I think he found it a bit unbecoming of young people. But overall, he was a quite nice chap. Whenever we seemed a bit rattled after coming back from anywhere, we'd go and seek counsel with him. And well, it was obviously quite lovely to me. I met his protege there as well, the man you'll be meeting, Jeremiah. Seemed of a similar mindset. Perhaps a bit zealous with the evangelism, but each to their own.
Fair enough.
A man after my own heart.
Yes, I dare say you'll get along, Father Pavel.
Why do I feel like this entire trip to the beach is going to be less beachy?
Well,
Actually,
What do I know of the beaches in this fishing village we're going to?
Ooh, roll me a logic and learning test, please, Chester.
How many dice is that?
How many is that on your character sheet?
I don't have my character sheet up. Roll20's being stupid.
Okay.
would I be able to assist in this?
Yes, sure.
So I would very much love to.
Great.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that out loud. I'm pulling from my own knowledge, so I don't know how you can help with my own recall.
I
if
could
you're sort of
spontaneously think of similar things, but yes.
Yeah, if you're sort of discussing this out loud, I imagine you're probably maybe talking as you're going through it in your head, sort of espousing some of this out loud, and maybe Dr. Anki.
Fjällbacka.
Absolutely.
Out west, by the canal. Okay, that would make sense.
Okay, so for you, Chester, that is logic 5 and learning 3. So you've got 8 dice for this roll with an extra one for Dr. Anki's help. So a pool of 9. Tell me if you get any 6s.
1. Literally 1. And several 2s and 2 1s.
Fantastic. Only the 6s matter, so that is all good. You do have a think, and sort of with Dr. Anki's help, you sort of discuss back and forth for a minute. Like, no, I don't think that's right. Maybe that's more in the north. No, that's westerly. No, that can't be right. Sort of the limestone beaches are further over that way. And as you're discussing this, sort of you do remember in your teachings, the Fjällbacka archipelago specifically, this sort of collection of islands has a lot of mystique surrounding it, especially considering that it hasn't always been the center for herring fishing. In fact, 30 years ago or so, it was, to pardon the pun, dead in the water. There was absolutely nothing there and absolutely no industry to speak of. But now it is a absolute hub.
It's very, very sudden transformation in the region. You know, there was really nothing going on. You know, there was talk of it being, you know, nothing would ever come of it. That the village itself would dry up with modernization. But then just suddenly, this herring industry popped up out of nowhere. It was very, very confusing and very interesting. I remember reading many articles on that fact that it was become a boom town actually in the area, and it was quite confusing and unique.
So
Were I a betting woman, I would suggest it has to do with the eastern waters being mildly contested over the last decades, but we will see.
That is an excellent point.
It is indeed. And, well, it's funny you should mention that, because the Amundsen family, the people that Jeremiah was talking about, I do remember there being some sort of scandal a while back relating to them. I don't remember the details specifically. Perhaps Olympus would have more information. But perhaps that's somewhere you could stop by to dig up more. But I just remember that those islands, something went down there. And, well, people got hurt. It wasn't great. I've got a bit of a reputation for being a bit rough.
Seems like this will be a good beach trip.
No, in his letter,
no.
he does state that he is certain that it wasn't. There was something unnatural afoot. Have you heard of anything unnatural in the area yourself?
Let's think. I will actually make a roll for him at this point. That's a stat for my boy here. It's not bad. Sort of has a think. It's like, now that you mention it, there was specifically one island in the archipelago that is apparently, I don't know how true this is, it has a nasty habit of disappearing for long periods of time and then reappearing again. And it's not that it's sort of just going under the water and disappearing from view. If that were the case, it would be a reef and sailors would still know to avoid it. Far from it, it seems to just disappear. Now, this might just be an old wives' tale, so don't put too much stock in it, but all stories begin with a truth, I find, so don't disregard it.
This is the best holiday ever.
It's not a holiday though, Ingrid.
We're going to the beach.
I beg to differ. Not really beaches per se. There might be, sand near the water, but I wouldn't really call it a beach. The fishing village it's actually a lot of crags and rocks, and it's kind of like built on the edge of this. The archipelago has a form of sort of an inlet, that's safe from the sea where ships can dock without being affected too heavily by the tides. But beach is a stretch.
Would you say there'd be crabs?
I knew that question would come up. Why did I know that question would come up? Yes. The answer is yes.
We get to have crabs!
That's
Every
usually not a
part
good
of
thing.
Anki's face just wishes she was a different person for 5 seconds.
Oh yes, crabs. I love getting crabs. Oh, who doesn't love having crabs? I mean, oh my god, they're just so lovely.
They're great pets, and when you get bored of them, you can eat them.
Yes, indeed. They're actually the most intelligent crustacean.
Ingrid, we can't take any home. We have nowhere to put them.
We have a
afterwards.
huge house with many rooms, one of which keeps running away.
Much as
like
I
the
hate
island.
to agree with her in this particular case, there are actually different places where we could have, say, an aquatic tank for, let's charitably call it culinary reasons.
I was just going to let them run free.
Well, when I was using that place as a headquarters, we did find a pond once. Granted, it was maybe 10 meters underground and collapsed upon by a giant steel column, but still,
Or there's the observatory with the massive tank.
Or there's the observatory, always good. Anyway, I do need to be off. Like I said, I'm a bit swamped. But is there anything else you would like to ask me before I usher you out?
No, I can think of.
Right. Chester,
Actually, there might be
careful.
one thing.
Yes, what is it? Dr.
Oh, I'm
Anki?
sure I'm sure I'm in the best of hands. They seem like a quite capable folk, and the mind is a terrible thing to help.
Waste.
Yes, of course.
Anki looks across her shoulder to the aforementioned bullet holes in the wall.
Those were there when I got here.
Oh, I trust that very much. That is more than fine, young sir. But Mr. Knight, I was curious as to where in Uppsala you have unless it is something that you have brought with you yourself, procured such measures of security that you are able to practice in your home office, so to speak. Or perhaps it is to rid yourself of rodents in the walls.
Oh, yes, that wasn't me. I am not very good with a gun. In fact, I'm kind of a menace, so I tend to not touch the things. But clients sometimes don't like the results of their investigations, and then yeah. I'm not good at firing the bullets, but I'm good at dodging them.
The truth hurts, you could say.
Literally, sometimes.
And so does lead.
It does
And
indeed.
so
You
does
know,
lead.
the fact is that the truth is one of the most dangerous things that can affect people. You know, when you find out what's really going on, it can affect the mind in many, many ways.
I know this gratefully.
Right. Anyway, my personal silliness aside, don't worry about that. It's nothing really. He does sort of usher you all out and just takes the mug back, Chester, and just says, "I'm so sorry." And then, like,
better luck next time.
yeah, indeed. And you do all once again find yourselves on the streets of Uppsala with a couple of hours before the stagecoach will take you to your destination. Now, this is where we come to the super fun advantages stage of VAESEN. So today, what would you like to do to prepare for your mission? Please remember that the scenes that you decide to do will give you an advantage in one way, shape, or form that will be decided by the RP. You can decide to go on whatever missions or whatever bimbles that your friends decide to do, but you will only get advantage from one of them, so choose wisely. Where would you like to go?
Well, I think Esther would like to do an Esther and go do some research.
I endorse this.
After my own heart. Oh, what a lovely thought.
Yeah, so she's probably going to go, I mean, the library makes sense, and she's going to start looking up, like, folk tales about beaches or possibly anything that could kickstart fishing industry or stuff like that, and then might want something in return, because her mind is sort of going in a way of suddenly there were fish, and then this town was booming, and then these people are very rich, and maybe whatever a deal was made there wants something in return. So she's going to sort of look into that.
Okay, right. Who is going with Esther on this trip to the library? Chester?
I will go along. I would also like to investigate things along the line of almanacs, you know, actually checking weather patterns over the years in this town. Again, you know, fishing output, you know, and the types of fish, other types of fish that can be found. And also on the side, anything more about this disappearing island and any more details that I can find about that. Pirates keep popping into my head. It seems like this archipelago could have been that only a few dozen years ago, and I feel that there could be a connection there. So just mainly looking into the island, but pirates are on my mind.
Okay, noted. Who else is going with them, if anyone? No? Okay. So Esther and Chester, you go on a... Oh, that rhymes nicely, doesn't it?
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
Excellent.
You're gonna be my best friend.
You know when you're planning a session, you write a load of names down, but you don't say them out loud, and then you say them out loud in the session, and you realize what you've done. Yes. You both make your way to the university library. Of course, with Chester with you, you are not stopped at all, and the older man sort of leaning on his bone-handled eel cane with a tweedy jacket and dusty spectacles, and he looks over and says, "Ah, Chester, back again, are we? It's good to see."
Yes, of course. You know, every day is a good day to conduct some research, and I believe you know my friend Esther here.
Hi. Yes, very good, very good. I like you. Yes, you can say. And Chester, do take good care of this one. We want them coming back as often as possible. Of course.
Yes, absolutely. You know, you can't have a library without customers, and you can't have customers without books, and books are very
Yes.
Eloquent
page to
as
page,
always.
cover to cover.
Indeed. Thick and covery. We like it.
Thick and covery,
Thick
yes.
and covery. Fantastic. I will trust you to show our good friend around. Have fun, kids. I'll be over here. I have an egg sandwich with my name on it. And he does sort of about turn and trundle away on his little cane.
He's such a wonderful gentleman. The curator takes very good care of all of us, and of course the books and location. And he's very good at finding very curious tomes at interesting times. That's what brought me here in the first place. Keeps me down and keeps me busy pouring through the books myself.
Oh, cool. So this library itself is what brought you here. So you're not from here?
No, not quite. I work here in my free time, and I've traveled a bit, but for the most part found my passion here with their basement stacks, if you know what I mean.
Oh, what kind of stacks do they have in the basement?
Oh, well, tall stacks, wide stacks, deep stacks, thick books, skinny books, books that crawl on rocks. They're everywhere.
Interesting. I think I'd like to see those someday. But for now, I think we've got to focus on what we're looking for.
Yes, must focus. I have a very specific area that I wish to look into about this mysterious island that seems to be disappearing. So I was going to look into some of those tales, and also I was going to look up as much data and factual information about the goings on of the archipelago. Weather patterns. Increase and decrease in fishing input and output, and even the types of fish that have come out of that region. That's where I was going to kind of focus my efforts.
That seems like a great idea. I'm going to look into fairy tales, and she walks off.
Yes, because every fairy tale has its roots in reality.
Yeah. Okay, both of you, please could you make me logic and learning tests?
So I have a +2 learning from last session, or session 2. Can I still use that?
Unfortunately not, because that was your advantage from the last mystery. Yeah.
I see. I did not realise that.
No, they do not stack or roll.
Okay, logic and learning. That's fine.
5 logic and 3 learning.
Yep.
And bookworm +2 when making learning tests for clues in books or libraries. So that's all 10.
Perfect. Yeah. Make your roll.
1, 2 6s.
Fantastic.
I have a +2 from my camera, but I don't know if that's eligible for this.
What is it? Your camera gives you learning rolls.
It's learning or investigation +2. That's what it says.
Yeah, I mean, if you would like to say that you're sort of going around snapping photos of the evidence as you go and sort of posing the books and making sure that the pages are right and maybe lining up the plates.
Yeah, sure. And then at least that way she doesn't have to worry about checking the books out, and she can just take the stuff that she needs.
Yeah, more than willing to allow that. Okay, so
I would recommend no flash photography on certain books. These are very old tomes, and you must be very careful so that the paper doesn't get faded too much. So
of course.
Natural light as much as possible, please.
Mm-hmm. That's 2 successes.
Oh, fantastic. We love consistency. Okay, so Esther, you were looking into what specific supernatural causes could cause a boom in industry, were you?
Yeah, and whether they would demand something in return or stuff like that.
Okay. With 2 successes, you managed to find a fair amount of fairy stories about creatures of the both land and sea, actually, that could possibly, in exchange for favors, boons, or other prizes, depending on the specific entity, cause a significant boom in industry. This does seem pretty rare, however. The cases where specific creatures of the land are helping an industrial complex tend to be specific to those cases where the helper or someone involved in the process is related to that entity. Because without some sort of actual tie to the problem at hand, natural entities are very reluctant to help anything to do with industry.
Okay.
They make shoes.
They do. You are having a look at the specific fishing shenanigans to do with the region and the area specifically, and this island. you find that there is indeed evidence of piracy in the area, but more than that, there is evidence of illegal wrecking. This is where sort of poor, down on their luck families who have obviously suffered from the previous lack of herring industry in the archipelago, resulting to waiting for a ship to crash, going on board, killing everyone there, and taking all their stuff and running, and including a lot of the scrap metal from the boats itself.
Isn't that what happened in Suez just recently?
I have heard some distant rumors, yes, from far across the ocean, completely. Yes, you take a look at that, and you do think that yes, that does track with this sort of boom in industry no longer needing that sort of activity. The incidences of illegal wrecking have gone down considerably since then.
Good to know. Okay.
With regards to the island, you don't find any actual documentation about the island that supposedly goes missing. All you find is a poem written by someone known as Orvar the Drunk. And you find this at the very, very back of a periodical on the island, sort of put in as a clever academic footnote that the academic in question just thought was like a fun piece of local lore that he's like, oh yeah, this seems fun. I'll put it in there as a little chuckle for my professor, and they don't seem to believe it at all. But the poem, written in a scraggly hand by clearly a mind that has lost its last nut a long time ago, does talk about an island with many eyes that looks deep into your soul before it disappears, and only returns when the time is right.
Well, that's a unique outlook on an island, especially for a poem, and rather good rhyme and meter for a drunk. This handwriting could use a little bit of work. But I do find it interesting that there's no research at all on this disappearing island. It's just purely rumor and everything. So I'm actually getting very curious about in investigating myself or going into some type of creating a research once we get down there, and see the viability of this island, but perhaps having regular visits to try to track the appearance and disappearance of this island on a scientific level.
That sounds very interesting.
Both of you, please take a advantage to your logic and learning. The next time you make a logic and learning test, you may add 2 extra dice. And that is your advantage. So we will change scene real quick. The rest of you, what would you like to do for advantage this session?
Well, Dr. Anki has in the past come across some interesting research papers on preventative medicine, and as such wants to get a gun.
That's pretty preventative.
That's preemptive, one might say. Fantastic. You are resources something ridiculous now, aren't you? Resources 8?
6.
Resources 6. Okay.
It only goes up to 8. I'm not there yet.
Fantastic. Roll me 6 dice then, please.
Yes.
And is anyone going with her to find a weapon?
So I was thinking, is there like a religious place in town that I could go and speak to someone about the vicar that died, and maybe see if any other priests or vicars, etc., have also died prior to that individual?
Yeah, fantastic. We will absolutely look into that. What did you roll, Dr. Anki?
1 success.
1 success is enough. Okay. You make your way downtown. Yeah, motherfucker. Lock and load. 20 cc's of A straight to the face. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. You make your way downtown and away from the uppermost districts into, once again, the possibly more seedy areas. You know that you've sort of you've gotten guns from better places before. It's by no means taboo or anything. One must defend oneself in this day and age. However, Uppsala isn't really the place to be sort of gun touting, so generally people like to keep it behind closed doors. But you do find a armaments shop, possibly a couple of streets away from Teddy Knight's office, sort of a run-down facade that someone has tried to keep up to date with licks of paint that are slowly peeling away. And it does say, let's see, Linman's Armaments above the door.
Well, beggars can't be choosers, but beggars rarely ask questions to money.
Yeah, you go on in and you see a sort of a younger man sat behind the counter doodling. Someone else behind the back. You can hear somebody rustling around back there, yelling orders every now and again to the boy out front who's like, "Do we have any of this?" And he's like, "No, we sold out of that last week. I told you. Could you listen?" It's like, "Don't you sass me, young man. I'll sass you all I want." "Oh, hello. How can I help you? Wow. How can I help you?"
I believe. Yes. I am interested in procuring some amount of safety in the ballistic form.
You want a gun?
Yes.
All right. He sort of like lifts open the counter and says, "All right, we've got small ones, really small ones, slightly bigger ones."
Wherein lies the difference, would you say, between small and slightly bigger?
Do you want to hide it in your shoe or your coat pocket? Or somewhere else's pocket?
Anki sort of just fixes her shoulder slightly, then pulls up the big medical bag, dunk, on the desk.
Big one it is. He sort of like ruffles through his stocks and pulls out an armful of weapons, slams them down on the counter. And it's just like, all right, okay. We can do you a sawn-off double barrel. We could do you an unsawn double barrel if you want, but in my opinion, those are bloody boring. Got a Derringer for sale. This one was my mum's, actually. Don't ask how we have it now. It's just not worth the time. And is a 6-barrel pistol as well. That one's lovely. I like that one myself. Cleaned that one this morning.
A pepper box. That sounds like something to season my evening.
Yeah, I mean, the spice will be memorable. That's all I can say.
May I have a look?
Of course you can. He sort of rolls his sleeves up, picks up the gun, gives it a once-over, checks the chamber, hands it over to you. It is a nice weapon, all things considered. It's got sort of a thick, sturdy oaken handle, well-welded steel plates, extremely well-oiled trigger mechanism. This thing has been very well cared for, despite the discouraging facade of the shop.
Well, that is surprising, but a welcome surprise.
Good.
Consider me interested. I'm willing to make a purchase.
Great. Do you want bullets without? Or you're just gonna?
I would very much like to procure some ammunition as well, my good person.
Fantastic. We can do you a deal on that. I'm doing them a deal on that. No, you're not. Yes, I am. I didn't give you clearance for that. You don't give me clearance for anything. I don't listen. And he does sort of duck once again down below the counter, pulls up a bag of bullets, and slides them across to you and be like, "No, that'll be," sort of touts it up. And that's going to cost you a resource level for that.
Is it the family business? Looks towards the back as brings up coins on the counter.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I'm adopted, but I ain't got another one hiding somewhere, so I suppose this is it.
This makes very much sense.
Just under a rock somewhere.
Anyway, I hope it does you well. We don't do any guarantees or refunds.
Well, I would hope that it works. I have seen no indication that it will not. But trust me, if it does not, and I live to tell the tale, I will not be coming to request a refund.
May I?
What is he doing?
He hands his hand out for the gun.
Puts the gun in the hand.
He does, with lightning fast efficacy, load it with a single shot, wheel around, and fire it into the back of the shop. And you hear an almighty "Oi!" as the bullet slams into what seems to be a wooden post. And from the sound of the splintering, you can tell this is a post that has been hit many a time before. The wood groans and the entire shop sort of lets out this horrendous moan as the supports almost buckle in on themselves but hold steady. And this young man loads the chamber, looks at the chamber again, sort of waits for it to cool down, blows on it a bit, cleans it out for you and says, "It works." Hands it back.
I take it. I put it in the bag, wrap it in some cloth, then lean in slightly and say, from a professional of a different profession, admittedly, to another, I would recommend changing posts, or you might find yourself in a bit of a pickle in, say, a month or two, depending on the rate of customers.
I wouldn't worry about it.
I would. I hope to be a repeat customer.
Like you. You can come back anytime. Gareth, by the way.
Dr. Sallow.
Dr. Sallow. Do feel free to come back anytime you like.
Very well. Thank you for your business.
And he does sort of wave at you as you leave. Please take a
Yes.
advantage to your precision and ranged combat.
Very well. Should I also add the actual physical weapon to the sheet?
Yes, please do. Add
A fine pepper box of sorts, it seems.
add a 6-chambered pistol to your inventory. Father Pavel, you make your way into town. Somewhere in the distance, you hear the echoings of a gunshot. You're unsure whether it's maybe a crow scarer or something very odd is happening, but you decide, not my problem, not my circus, not my monkeys, and head on your way. In the center of town, you find a very well-appointed church. This place is an institution more than it is a back alley church like the one you were faced with in the previous mystery. It is a sprawling graveyard in which sits a very well-appointed stone building, 2 spires, a very large clock face that has been very well maintained. As you walk in, there are devotees set at the pews, talking in low voices or praying. There are a couple of clerics up by the confessional and the altar at the back of the room. One of them seems to be perusing by the large Bible on the lectern, and the other 2 just seem to be conversing in low voices.
Okay. I'll walk up to the one by the lectern that's perusing the Bible.
It seems to be sort of an older gentleman, salt and pepper hair, wire-rimmed glasses perched on the end of his nose, and he just sort of looks up and says, "Can I help you, my child?" "Oh, fellow man of faith, I have not seen you before, I don't think."
No, I'm we're reasonably new in the area. So,
Well,
yes.
pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Likewise.
Yes, my name is Father Jefferson.
Father Pavel.
What can I do for you today, good sir?
I was just wondering, we've been given some information regarding a vicar, Carl Eric. Are you aware of this individual?
Carl Eric.
Yes.
I'll admit I have not caught up with him since he was a young man training this very church, you understand. No, he was a dedicated missionary from the beginning that we let him fly into the world. We very rarely see him. I think I've seen him twice since he left us. He's a very enigmatic and enthusiastic man.
Yes, unfortunately he was a very energetic and enthusiastic man.
Oh dear goodness, what happened?
From what we've been advised, he was murdered. So,
Oh, how distressing.
yes, quite.
God rest his soul.
Exactly. Yes. Now we were told that he'd travelled to some islands. Was that on your request or?
On my request, no, not at all. Like I said, he was a very staunch evangelical type. Even us around in this church, we we tend to keep our attention on the flock, you see. But he was very much about bringing people into the fold. So he would often disappear for maybe years at a time, and we wouldn't hear from him. And then he would come back with tales of the people he had converted. I assume if he had gone over to this island, it would be of a similar mission.
Do you know if he used to go by himself, or was there other individuals he used to travel with? Or
He did actually take on a mentee in his later life. He took on a young man named Jeremiah, similarly very evangelically minded. Both of them were kind of birds of a feather in that way. Looked awfully alike, too.
looked awfully alike.
There were some vicious rumors going around that the young man was, in fact, beget by, but I don't put stock in such things.
No, quite. I'm sure it's vicious rumors.
Yes, quite. About a man of the church, no less. Terrible.
Yes, exactly. Very well. If I have any more questions, I'll certainly come back to you if that's okay.
Oh, of course. Anything you should need, you do know where to find us. And of course, if you would like a place to preach to the masses, you do know where to come. I'm sure we can find you a slot.
Certainly. Thank you.
Fantastic. Please, from that, gain a advantage on your next empathy manipulation check.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. And Ingrid, what are you doing?
Wait, we left Ingrid unsupervised?
You did?
Yeah, everybody left Ingrid unsupervised.
Why couldn't we do something logical like drag it to the gun shop?
Oh no.
Ingrid in the gun shop. Here it is.
Ingrid has her own little theories, because in Ingrid's little mind, the world is never... There's always a simple explanation. And for her, she's thinking, okay, the simple explanation is that people are stupid because it's an island and it keeps disappearing in the way that ships can just sail through the space it once was. So she's thinking, well, islands don't move, but, creatures do. So what kind of large creature would attract a herring? A lot of herring. So she's going to try and figure out in her own little occultisty way, she's going to take her crystal ball, she's going to find the nearest ocean, or failing that, find the nearest herring, even be it at a fishmonger's, and she's going to try and figure out what kind of large creature she might know that would attract a lot of herring.
Okay, let's make you a bit of a weird roll then, I think. What's your logic?
My logic is 3.
What's your empathy?
My empathy is 4.
Okay, let's have you roll empathy inspiration or empathy vigilance for this one.
I think I will go with empathy inspiration because I actually have 1 in that. So
fantastic.
That's 2 successes, and then I've got to roll 2 more die. Yeah, just 2 successes.
That's enough. You sort of spend some time walking around Uppsala, and you're sort of discussing this back and forth in your mind, this problem, mulling it over, and the voice in the back of your head's going, I think it's just a really fucking big crab.
A big crab would be great. Imagine how many, we could have it as a pet, we could ride it.
You could get the pincers to snap fucking Father Pavel in two. Be amazing.
Or we could just get it to hold him up by his little arms and kind of make him dance.
I would like that.
Oh, that would be great.
Perhaps we should do that anyway, crab or not.
Can we do that, crab, without the crab?
I think you could try.
I don't think I'd get very far, but I could try.
No, me neither. Yeah. And it's at this point that you sort of turn the corner into an alleyway, and you see a bunch of kids standing around a bucket, and one of them has their fist elbow deep in the bucket and a handful of salted herring, and is just taking aim at a nearby shop front. They turn around, see you, shriek, drop the herring and run. And you are left in this alleyway with a metal bucket full of salted herring.
Nice! I take the whole bucket of salted herring. That is my bucket of salted herring. I put it in my bag. I don't care if it spills everywhere. This is my bag. I will have it smelling like salted herring if I want.
Okay, you have a bag of salted herring. How would you like to use your oracular abilities to discern from the salting herring some funky stuff?
I will probably use sort of my general knowledge. I think I might go with using medium, like my skill medium, to try and discern sort of something from it to answer my question.
Fantastic. Okay, how does your skill medium work? Do you have to make an additional roll for that?
I believe I might have to. Bear with me. I just need to go up. Okay, so I can use my observation to perform seances, which usually predict people's futures or contact the dead. The fish are dead.
Sure, make your roll. Make your roll.
I'm just working on that assumption there that this might work. She don't know. So let's go with observation, which is just a 2.
Heck it.
Zombie herring.
Zombie herring.
What success was it?
I got a success to contact the herring from the beyond.
Great. You lay this herring out in like a pentagram shape on the ground, and you sort of it's odd to say you snap a herring in half, but you kind of do. It's like a really ineffective glow stick that's really brittle. So it just, and you tear it apart and it comes apart, and you spread the guts and the blood everywhere, and you rip out some of the bones with your teeth and spit it out onto the floor into the shapes you need.
In the middle of the
walk
street,
around. Absolutely. People are fucking terrified of you. They're not coming anywhere near this mess. This is horrifying. The kids from earlier sort of peeking around the back of the alleyway, watching this happen. You do recognize one of them. It's Dean. And he seems extremely interested. As you are walking around chanting and trying to discern from this herring, you see that in the middle of the sidewalk here, almost one of the herring splits in and of itself, joins with 3 or 4 others, and forms a sort of maw in the middle of this pavement that opens up. And the gills of the herring start to form little teeth, little slits that begin to open in the side of it. And out of this disgusting maw of gruesome gristle, a shallow wheeze spits forward. And it says, "What do you want to know?"
Hi.
Hi.
So, fish, tell me, what is attracting you to the beach with the disappearing island? And is the disappearing island actually a thing?
Yes.
Brilliant!
We come because it calls us.
Ooh, the thing calls you. What does it like to eat?
It does not eat us. It eats the big ones.
The big ones, all right. Like sharks?
We know not what they are.
I see. Is it friendly?
It depends who you're asking.
Yeah, I'm asking you, great fish from the beyond.
I have no concept of morality. I'm a fish.
That is a great point, fish. Okay, well, is there anything you could advise me before I let you go on your rest, fish friend?
Beware of the new moon. And with that, it wheezes out a final wheezing, jagged, damp breath and coughs up a chunk of gristle, and then fades once again into herring that sort of rolls back into its original form on the pavement, and there is just inert herring mess everywhere. And you hear Dean's voice in the back as he goes, "You're fucking weird. That was awesome."
You're welcome, Coria.
Bye! And then he sort of grabs his friends by the ears and runs down the street. Please take from that what should we give you? Let's give you something funky, shall we? Take another empathy and vigilance check for this one, I think. In fact, no, let's make it empathy observation.
So I get is that a plus to that? Or
Plus 2.
Yeah, plus 2 to
Yes.
empathy.
The next time you roll empathy and observation, or
Perfect.
whatever that is.
Thank you.
For sure.
So, 2 conclusions from this. 1, Ingrid is never going to let this go at the next herring buffet at the midsummer dinner.
I'm a
Secondly, great, now we are devil worshippers who also smell of fish.
You You get the feeling.
Devil worshipping is always pretty fishy.
It super is. You get the feeling that there are
Is it
going
now?
there are going to be some odd rumors coming off of the back of this. As you sort of make your way, concluding all of your adventures, you do eventually, after maybe a couple of hours or so, it's now mid-afternoon, it's gotten a bit chillier out, so you're sort of like pulling your coats tighter about you, flipping up your collars against the breeze that's winding down from the mountains, and you will meet by the stagecoach stop on your way, ready to depart, unless you would like to do anything else before you leave. You've maybe got half an hour for last-minute errands.
I just want to make sure that I have a change of socks and an extra book just in case I get through this one, and any my spare spectacles, and of course make sure that my watch is properly wound and ready to go.
You are spick span and top of the pops.
Spit spot.
Umbrella.
Fantastic.
Big one.
You go back to the Castle Gillencroots and you get yourself a nice umbrella from the stand, sort of make sure it's off. Your steward comes along and says, "Oh no, don't take that one. That's a little bit finicky." He actually disappears into his room and gets you a very large, very well-maintained umbrella. Looks like you could beat someone to death with this thing and the umbrella would survive the attack. And he does hand it over to you, says, "This has served me well for the past 20 or so years. It should do you fine. Where are you all off to? You seem to be in rather a hurry."
Västergötland.
The beach.
The beach. Oh, very, very fun. Whereabouts would that be?
It's
I look at Father Pavel.
Reka Island, I believe.
Really?
Out of Fjällbacka.
Oh, well, rather nice there. The inn is quite hospitable this time of year, I have heard. Though with the accusations of wrecking, perhaps not. Do tread carefully. Either way, have fun. I'll keep the fort locked down here.
Oh, and do make sure that Sophia is well taken care of, yes?
I shall. Sort of in the background, you do see Sophia ambling through with a big armful of books, and she's sort of flicking through them. She does look at all of you and wave happily as she goes by. And and once again, you find yourselves back to the coach stop, all your errands having been done and your preparation being complete. The journey is very long and very arduous to Fjällbacka. You've each read a lot about your predecessors' efforts in the society and your ways and means in which they got around. And at this point now, we've lost a Holly.
No! Musical chairs happening again.
Sad times. Oh no.
How are we to progress without our human cinnamon roll?
It's okay.
Yes,
And her dog.
lost our writer.
No.
Terrible.
Wait. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. We lost her.
Yeah.
She'll be back. I promise. Please bear
Hopefully
with
she'll be
the
back.
awkward screen.
That's
Ranky.
mentioned to Fisk in the chat. Great. Also, no.
Jay and Holly have switched places. Hold on while I fix
Oh,
that.
there we go. There's
Sorry, my computer crashed.
all is well. You're back now, and that is what matters.
Your computer could not handle the fish truth.
Yeah,
Well, whilst Holly
Fishy
musical-
truth.
the overbearing stench of fish coming from
Indeed.
Ingrid.
Whilst Holly whilst we are being musical chairs back into position, I will continue. So you've read a lot about your predecessors' efforts in the society at this point, and now more than ever, you can perhaps appreciate how many of their journeys and journals and records start with them complaining about the hardships of travel. Apart from Ingrid, who is happy as Larry to sort of jump in the nearest puddle to see how deep it goes, after a couple of stagecoaches that pull you through driving rain and howling wind and bitter cold, and a boat down the Gotha Canal that was no better, you found yourselves upon a port town that sort of emerges from the quagmire of this weathery hell, just as the cracks in the clouds are beginning to form, the ocean's cresting waves as you approach this town, shimmering gold in the mid-morning. You've each had some time to freshen up after this long and arduous travel, getting a good night's sleep in a local inn, and each of you have now met up at the docks in Fjällbacka. The area is a bustling hub of industry, with sailors scurrying to and fro, loading and unloading the boats, and the harbour master sat smoking a very long pipe at the desk as she leafs through various journals, and shops lining the promenade behind the docks, containing every trinket and oddity. And as you sort of step out, sort of seem to be loitering at the docks here, she does wander over to you. She says, "Hey up, how can I help you today?"
I look at Father Pavel.
I look back at Ingrid with a scowl.
I stare at Father Pavel like this. And my eyes dart between the person who's just spoke and Father Pavel.
Fantastic.
We're here to find out, to speak with a Jeremiah Udgren.
Oh, right. Yes, you'll want Orvar and the Siren Scale then. Back of the docks. Off you pop. She does turn very sharply on her heel and walk back towards her desk, and you all look over to see the Siren Scale in all of its glory. It's a very old vessel, very well taken care of, despite the apparent age of its yellowing hull and the way it seems to sort of slouch into the water. As you approach the small passenger sloop, you can hear a voice ragged with decades of cigar smoke singing a shanty, and see an older man appearing at the top of the gangplank. And as this man sort of appears and looks down at you all, you see another man at the very bottom of this gangplank, sort of dressed in a priest's cassock and garb, very severe-looking face, hair all sort of scraped back off of his head, sort of balding slightly at the hairline, and he looks at all of you who are walking with purpose towards this boat, and looks over at the man, looks back at you, and makes a beeline, and says... So, I assume since you're here, Teddy is not coming.
Wait, he's supposed to come with?
Don't believe so, no. He didn't seem to express a wish to join us.
I think he said that he was really busy and that he trusted us. So we're here to help.
Oh, well, that's good to hear. Thank you so much for coming. I'm aware it was a little bit vague, the message. I wasn't sure how specific I could be with these sorts of channels, but I am grateful, I am. And that's as he's sort of telling you this, that you hear the ragged voice of the older man at the top of the gangplank yell out, and you see that he has a rakish grin on his face that isn't held down at all by the frown lines that creased his face like a aged carpet. And it's just hey up, father, you're bringing more poor folk into your brand of nonsense. He turns to all of you and goes, don't you be letting him get into your heads, all of you. He's in trouble, that one, and he's gonna get all the rest of you in trouble too. You and your old man, God rest his soul, could keep your nose to yourselves. And Jeremiah sort of looks appalled. It says, I am so sorry. Orvar, can you please be nice? They just... Oh. Yeah, Orvar, the man who was addressed as Orvar, looks at you, Chester, and sort of at you, sorry, Ingrid, and grins back at you and just sort of winks knowingly.
Oh, yay! He
As soon as I hear the name Orvard, my ears perk up, and I like kind of go back through some notes, and I look at him, and I look at the notes, and I look at him, and I kind of step up, and I say, "Oh, hello, very nice to meet you. I am Chester Braithwaite, librarian inquisitor, and I had some questions for you about a poem that I saw that you wrote, which was very lovely, but we could work on the handwriting just a little bit. But besides the fact, about this island that keeps disappearing, and the many eyes, and I'm very curious to know more details of how you came up with this poem, and where is this island?"
What? You said a lot of words.
You wrote a poem about a disappearing island.
Yeah. What? Wait. I did that. Yeah.
Where's the island?
Well, it just appears. Good luck finding it.
Where does it usually? Does it appear in different places? Does it reappear in the same place? Is there a periodicity to its reappearance? Is it based on the tides? Is it based on a moon, or perhaps the conjunction of planets?
He sort of leans into you conspiratorially, beckons you to come closer. You can smell the alcohol and the grave breath on his tongue as he does so, and he's like, "Well, let me tell you something. When we get to Wrecker Isle, you buy me a drink and maybe I'll tell you. Got a lot of secrets in my noggin, me. Not a lot of people like what I got to say, but it's all true."
Oh, I'm sure it is. And the truth is a terrible thing to waste.
I knows things. I do. And I knows that you're all trouble and he's trouble too. So let's get you to the bloody island, shall we? And he Sort of hops back aboard his boat. Jeremiah looks completely aghast with this entire situation.
I trundle off right after him. I'm like, what a fascinating gentleman. Oh my God, look at this. I've never been on a vessel like this before.
I'm following as
Absolutely.
well.
Is that a spinnaker? I believe that's a spinnaker.
Fantastic. Yeah, you all follow 2-step behind Orvar as the rest of you are filed onto this boat, and Jeremiah sticks beside you, Father Pavel, and he's got like his hand over his head and he's like, I am so sorry. I am so sorry.
It's quite all right.
And you do eventually find your way sat down on this vessel, this sort of barely holding on rust hulk of a thing as it pulls away from the docks at Fjallbacka and heads to Wrecker Isle.
I am right at Orvard's shoulder, watching everything he's doing and just making notes and asking ridiculous questions. You know, says, "So is this leeward or is this starboard? Is it larboard? What's the?" Just all about nautical terminology.
Yeah, fantastic. Orvar is well up for it. He's like swigging from a whiskey bottle that's been wrapped in paper as he's doing this. And despite the fact that he is clearly drunk as a skunk, he's one of the most adept seamen that you've ever seen. He is sort of bouncing around the deck like he's 20 years old, sort of up the rigging, down the rigging, all around the place. You blink and you've missed him. But he's very happy to sort of yell terminology down at you over the course of this 30-minute or so journey.
Fascinating. Made a note.
And at the back of the boat, Jeremiah sort of sits down and looks around. It's like, listen, like I said, thank you for coming. My mentor, Carl, he did try and bring, like I said, he was trying to bring the word of God to the people of Wrecker Isle, and they didn't like that very much. So every time we would go over there, he would go in, he would do a speech, he would get thrown out. And it's sort of, I don't know why, but the people there love the Amundsen family a lot. They seem to have some sort of hold over the community due to their, the boom in herring and everything. And the sailors are very grateful for the business being back. And Zacharias is actually quite charming, pretty popular. Pete and Pace are the two really grisly looking younger sons of Godmother Abella. You'll know them when they see them. They are gnarly looking motherfuckers. Sorry.
I have a question.
Yes.
How does a family attract lots of herring?
I don't know. That's what I'm hoping that you're going to find out for me. Well, that and obviously the fate of my my mentor. I'm absolutely sure that the Admondsons killed him. And it should be noticed as well that there were 3 of these brutish brothers. There were 3 of them. One of them went missing on the same night as Carl.
You said there was Paul, Pete, and Pace. Which one?
Paul. We haven't seen him since.
Mysterious.
And now, listen, I know what the coroner said. I do. I understand that there was procedure and Carl was killed by a gunshot to the head, but I don't believe that he shot himself. Not for a second.
And what makes you think this?
He was a steadfast believer in his work, and he had a lot of work left to do. We both did. We had a plan. We have an entire map of Sweden that we were following, and this was only one stop along many. Why would he seemed as himself as ever. And then the night in question came. I couldn't find him for hours. And then when I did find him, yeah.
Good, Reverend.
Terrible.
If you do not mind the question.
Fire away. Oh,
With
God.
regards to your fallen men.
Mm-hmm.
Grimaces. With regards to your fallen mentor, where is the body now?
Well, like I said, the coroner took it in for examination. Might still be on the island, but I doubt it. He didn't have any family of any sort, so I'm not sure, honestly.
Would it be reasonable to assume that he is already buried?
Probably. If not in Fjallbacka, then maybe on Wrecker Isle, but they don't have a church there, so...
I have a question.
Well, that doesn't have a very good track record.
What do they have over there in place of churches?
You had a question, sorry, young lady, before I answer the father's.
I was just going to ask, do you know the cause of death?
Yeah, gunshot wound to the head.
Ah, that was it. All right. Okay. Your turn,
Father?
Father Pavel.
Yes, I said, what in place of churches? What is it that they have?
Well, they have a inn. They have Wrecker Inn. It's a very popular establishment amongst the local sailors. A very popular watering hole. They've got the obviously the epicenter of the industry there. They've got the herring warehouse, very, very big yellow building. You can't miss it. And they've got the Admonton residence as well. It's a very big townhouse. Again, you'll know it when you see it. Apart from that, it's mainly shanty town. A very well-appointed shanty town now, though. They've had a lot of money funneled into it since it was made. So the buildings are a lot in better nick than they used to be. Yeah.
I mean, did they pray to the fish? It seems that they must believe in something over there, and unfortunately, it would appear that if this Carl Eric has been traveling over there, it isn't the good word that they believe in.
Yes, well, they certainly believe in the power of money. That's for sure. The Admondsons are a greedy bunch. I believe is the term. It's they're not very nice people.
Sure.
Right. As you sort of finish up this conversation, you do all notice as the boat pulls up and you begin to see the Wrecker Isle. And as you all sort of file off of this boat, Chester, you finish up your conversation with Orvar, sort of waves you goodbye merrily and almost falls over halfway now that he's actually on land. You all sort of make your way down the gangplank and onto the pier here. The first thing that greets you is the smell. The wild, whipped-up brine of the ocean, sort of this heavy stench of crates of fish being moved into storage on the backs of wagons, from heaving hulls of sloops that are docked on the well-constructed jetties. The port is a thriving machine, and you are quickly ushered out of the working area and onto a dirt thoroughfare that connects all the buildings on Wrecker Isle. The island itself is a desolate-looking spit of land, but the buildings are incongruously well-maintained and bear the signs of restoration and renovation. But before we explore the island properly, why don't we take a little break? Thank you everyone for joining us for part 1 of the Silver of the Sea, mystery of King Hunt's story for VAESEN. We will be back in 10 minutes or so very shortly, where we will have an interview with our lovely guest, Jay STILIPEC, about her product, Better Backstories, this awesome little device right here. And we will have a chat about VAESEN, and so also we will be giving away a copy of the core rulebook of VAESEN, which is awesome, and you get to see cool things like the art and the stories and the awesome writing and everything in there. That is awesome, because frankly everything is. So yeah, don't go anywhere. We will be back in about 10 minutes or so, so stick around folks. See you after the break.
Hi, everybody. I'm George.
And I'm Bob. We're the Shipping Goblins from Beetle and Cribs. Today, we're going to talk about the amazing Map Vault Collection. And with the Map Vault Collection, you get a bunch of gorgeous two-sided maps, all scaled for standard minis.
Yeah, get yours now for the Map Vault Collection from Beetle and Grimm, and all the players at your table will be revved up and hyper because the only thing they'll be able to say is...
Yeah, go ahead and do it.
Zoinks!
No, do it again.
Zoinks!
Hello?
Who do you think you are?
Yes, Mr. Lillard.
You're just some goblin.
Yes, sir.
You can't just go off and use my
It's your
voice
thing.
like that. I have rights.
Completely. We just thought...
Me?
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna take this right to
yes, sir.
Beetle. Hey, Grim.
Thank you, sir.
What happened?
Matthew Lillard watches our show!
In a world wrought with demons, going to hell is the only way to get redemption. 5 adventures, 1 mission. This spring, join us as we descend into Avernus, the first layer of hell. Action, fire, brimstone. If you make a deal with the devil, you better be prepared to dance. Band of Badgers, Descent into Avernus, coming this May.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back again to VAESEN. So good to have you all here. Thank you for everyone who has stuck around from the raid. This is incredible. I didn't even notice that we got raided, apart from the fact that I looked down at one point to the view count and had a small aneurysm. So thank you for that. But today we will be doing some further cool things before we jump back into the wonderful world of VAESEN. We will be giving away a copy of the cool rulebook of VAESEN, which is this splendid thing, not an actual hard copy, but you'll get the PDF. So it's this beautiful, beautiful tome, very thick, a lot of content. So if you're interested in that, please post in the chat your prediction for what you think the VAESEN of the day is for this mystery, and we will pick our favorite answer from the chat. But whilst that is happening, we have a wonderful guest star with us today. We have the brilliant STILIPEC from Better Backstories with us today. Now, I actually got sent one of her products. So this is Better Backstories. This is the actual box. And it is a... What can you tell us a little bit more about your product, Jay, about what you sell?
No problem at all. Better Backstories is effectively a card-based brainstorming system. It's genre neutral. It can be used in horror. It can be used in sci-fi. It can be used in fantasy. It is also system independent. So it can be used with VAESEN. It can be used with Vampire, as I've used before. It can be used with Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder. It can be used with Star Trek and Star Wars, any system. And it's not just for role-playing games. It can even be used to inspire creative writing, plot points, so it's good for dungeon masters as well. And even songwriting and poetry. People have told me that it's helped them. I actually had one customer, he said that he'd been kind of brain locked for nearly 2 years on a story he wanted to write. And he got the deck, and within a couple of days, he wrote a 40-page short story based on the inspirations he got.
Fantastic.
Nice.
So yeah, if you guys have any questions in chat for our wonderful Jay here today, please leave them below, and we will get around to
Bring it. I have no dignity.
We'll do about 3 of your questions before we dive back into the story. But whilst those are ticking over, why don't we have a little pull from our deck and see what we can make? So we have our decks right here. I have the bumper deck because I'm special like that.
Yes, you are.
I'm going to pull a complex NPC, so 3 cards, let's say.
Okay.
All right, what have we got? We've got, this person has a device. So they acquired an advanced item with curious effects. I'm going to pick, it gives them strange cravings. So they really want pizza at 2 a.m. because of their weird magic cube.
Ooh, I like it.
Feeling personally attacked right now.
Right? Sure. They are also dedicated. They are particularly devoted to your lord, country, company, or occupation. Oh my god, we were just making Father Pavel.
Really?
And yes, even better. They are offbeat. They have an interesting personality. Let's see, which is the most Father Pavel of all of these? Overly curious? Nah. Clean and orderly? Meh. Good sense of humor? Covet-certing belongings? Awed by beautiful things, try to get along with everyone, often daydream, keen attention to detail. That's Pavel-y. That's Pavel culture right there.
Pavel to a T.
Or you don't get jokes.
No.
That's our boy. We have made our
Lost
sweet
I due to
boy.
being the butt of one too many times.
Well, yes.
Fantastic. There we go.
And it's just that easy. I mean, you
It's
flip
just that
over just a
simple.
couple of these cards, and they can really kickstart your imagination. You know, whether you've been abandoned at some point in your life, or you have an infamous family member who, possibly used to be a bureaucrat or a tax collector, perhaps a town fool. Adding these things to your character's history really makes them more interesting. Or even a birthmark can say a lot about who you are, and one of my favorite cards is actually the tattoo card, because just knowing that a character has a tattoo leads to so many questions. Where is it? What is it? Why did you get it? When did you get it? Did you get it removed? Did somebody else give it to you?
Yeah.
What is the significance? I mean, that's one word on a card, and it can just really jumpstart the imagination.
I mean,
Why
as a DM,
is it on a chain around your neck?
Exactly. I mean,
Why
as a
is your
DM,
tattoo on
it's
it?
very useful to not have to fully flesh out all of your NPCs during the planning phase. You can just sort of make them up on the spot as you go with this, and that's great. Do we have any
And as a
questions
dungeon
from chat,
master,
Stacey?
who just randomly throws NPCs at people, says, "Oh, walking down the street, you see a man with a limp," and they're like, "Oh, really? I want to go talk to him." And you're like, "Oh, he is actually worried about an enemy that's trying to kill him, who is a jealous ex-lover." You know, so, and boom, just from one card, you've got a whole plot line. You know, now should we protect this man? Should we try to figure out? Should we try to resolve the situation between the ex-lover? That's entirely up to you.
Pretty cool. Okay. If we don't have any questions in chat, we will move on to the giveaway. How are we looking?
I've got so many answers. I'm trying to get them all written down here.
Oh, okay.
Most of them are various numbers of bees in trench coats, or
various numbers of bees in trench coats.
I am very nearly finished.
That's not a problem.
Wait, Baron Snowhand said, "I can't be that cute and powerful and not be dark." Is that a reference to something I'm not familiar with?
you can.
Talking about Joe, maybe?
Well,
Yeah, maybe.
There's a person called Dark somewhere, but
yeah, that's our wonderful.
But there was a question about what head I used.
Only my stylist knows for sure. I'm so bougie. I go to the salon every week and get my hair styled, and she just dyes it for me. But I went through several colors. First I did red, and then I had purple, and then I had blue and pink, and now I've settled on just kind of a purple forelock, and this is a clip-on.
Okay, I think
Such
I've managed to
I,
get...
I can't wait for hairdressers to be open again in the UK. That's what I'm saying.
me too.
Yeah, so what are our
I
answers?
think I
Stacey?
managed to get a few answers. So, we've got a very lost chupacabra.
Again!
649 bees in a body condom.
Checks out.
A bigger, redder herring.
Uh-huh.
649 bees in a trench coat. A devil badger. Margaret Thatcher. Tova. Cassie's obedience classes, though I'm not sure if that was an actual one or not. We've got a sentient tin of Heinz baked beans and I cannot say this word, so I'm very sorry, Siemens Possum Triplet a cappella band.
I love that,
They tried
but
to
I think
spell
for thematicness, we're gonna go with the herring. So whoever.
Two trench coats in a man.
Okay, my last name
Have
is
you ever seen the video of two trench coats and a kid?
Yeah.
Okay, my last name is taken. If you could message either one of our mods or myself and Stacey, we will get that cool rule book to you for you to enjoy. Have fun running through the Mythic North. I know I have. Okay, so let's jump back into it. Speaking of the Mythic North, shall we?
Yes.
Yes.
Fantastic. Let's do this.
Such a pause. Like, nah.
We don't want to. It's scary.
We now
Okay.
trade of the herring.
Do we have to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's just go back to Sana.
Sure. Let's all just go home. Let's call it a day. Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
you have found yourself on Rekka Isle in the Fjällbacka archipelago here in Sweden. After a very long and arduous journey, you have met the priest and your contact, Jeremiah Udgren, who has asked you for assistance helping him find out what happened to his mentor, who was shot in the head at point blank range with his own revolver. And no one quite knows the truth behind the incident, including the truth of the mysterious yet charismatic and supposedly a little bit nasty Admundson family and their involvement in the whole debacle. As you sort of pull up onto Rekka Isle and you're ushered into this thoroughfare from which you can see all of the parts of the island. It's a very low, flat piece of land, which you can see sort of every single part of this small bit of existence. There's a large townhouse style building at the very far end of the island that stood by itself like a lone rock, sort of perched on top of the part of the land that forms a rocky cliff. It's a good 3 floors or so with surrounding gardens and outbuildings. It wouldn't look out of place in a very moneyed area on the mainland. Between it and the town proper is a gigantic warehouse, even bigger than the townhouse, and painted a bright canary yellow where the smell of herring and train oil is thick and pungent. Directly in front of you all, however, across from you is an inn called the Rekka Inn. Painted a very crisp dark black, clearly very recently touched up. On the inside, it spills warm, welcoming light, and the noise of merriment, even though it's probably only really about midday, seems to be spilling out and echoing around the landscape here. Surrounding all of these buildings is town-style lean-tos that seem to be crowding up against everything in far better nick than you think they should be. There's a general goods store. And as you sort of stood around taking in the scenery, your new friend, the fisherman Orvar, drunkenly stumbles past you all, singing a shanty to himself, brushes past one of you, and heads directly for the inn, clumsily negotiating with the door for a few seconds before managing to find his way inside. And there's a loud "hey" as he goes in, and very clearly takes a tumble.
I have an awful feeling that if we walk in there, we're not going to get such a warm reception.
I have an awful
Well,
feeling.
I mean, fisher folk, we already smell like fish, so we should be able to blend in rather simply. I mean, it's not like we stand out like a sore dingle or anything.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, Jeremiah sort of looks at the inn and says, well, there's nowhere else to stay. Should probably at least get a place for the night.
They allow dogs? I probably should have
Yes.
asked before I brought my dog.
He sort of looks down at Tova and says, I dare say she'll be fine. They've had bigger and nastier beasts in there than Tova.
Okay.
Ingrid looks at Father Pavel.
That's encouraging.
I walk into the inn.
Okay.
I'm following because that's hilarious.
As you all sort of push your way inside this place, much like the outside, it is far nicer than would be expected for a small island's watering hole. Its tables are constructed of thick, very sturdy oak, and all of them seem to be bolted to the floor. The benches that form the seating have had a very similar treatment. The tables are crowded with all manner of sailors and their plentiful drinks. Sounds of merriment and gesticulations almost diluted by the haze of acrid cigar smoke that fills the air. Waitstaff make their round of tables with precision, avoiding sailors who want to pull them into raucous songs. And at the back of the room, a large older woman sits on a liquor barrel, cleaning a shotgun. And it's sort of making a very methodical sweep with eagle-like eyes across the entire tavern. 2 similarly large men who look a little like this woman, but mostly identical to themselves. They're almost indiscernible, younger and looking in age though, and sort of their faces are marred by the signs of scuffle and fights long past. One of them sort of has a crooked nose from it being mashed in too many times and hasn't been properly set. They are both missing a few teeth, and they're scarred to heck, and their clothes are very grubby. And so they're sort of making their way between the tables, joining in with the lively chorus. But as all of you walk in, both of them wheel around to look at you, and they don't bother making any attempt at hiding it. Behind the bar, there is a younger woman with sort of hair scraped back off her face in a messy bun. She's restocking the shelves with liquor. She looks up, and when she sees you all come in, she does smile and give you a nod of acknowledgement. Sat at the bar, having already beaten you there and gotten a drink already, is Orvar. Already seemingly slumped over almost into his glass of whiskey as he mutters something and then falls onto his arm at the bar.
Al,
I don't like
Yes.
this place.
what about is the time of our arrival?
Probably about 3 p.m. Could you all please roll me a logic and vigilance, please?
Tremendous.
Failed.
I
I
get
failed. I see nothing.
Oh no.
Okay.
2 successes.
2. All right. As you're sort of making your way into this place, you see the young woman who has been smiling at you. Her smile falters ever so slightly. Both of you who got 1 see this. Her smile falters, and she looks very nervously over at the 2 twins who are staring at you, and sort of looks very concerned for a moment before she turns back to both of you and sort of recovers her smile. As she does this, one of the twins leans into the other and walks out. Dr. Anki, however, you are perhaps a little more clued into the area. You see this, but you also catch the glimpse of a familiar figure just as they disappear up the stairs to the first floor of the inn. Bears a striking resemblance to Olaf's Clint.
Oh, excellent. I imagine that the Lady Path Encounter can see us to having some sort of accommodation. I believe that I should follow that person over there for a moment.
I shall procure some rooms for us, and perhaps a guarantee of an evening meal or something. Try to incorporate it all together, and I will approach the woman behind the counter and introduce myself. Hello, Chester Braithwaite, librarian, inquisitor, and contemporary of my good friend Captain. Forget his name.
Oh, friend
And-
of Orvar. Oh, I see.
Orvar, yes.
Right. Yes, of course. I'm Justina. I'm
Hello.
well, what passes for the head barmaid here, I suppose. What can I get for you?
A round for my good friend here, and I'd like to procure some rooms. Me and my associates should be here for at least the night. Hopefully not too terribly long. Wouldn't want to impose too much, and just any type of a deal I can get on, multiple rooms and perhaps some meals would be appreciated.
Of course, we do run a kind of a by the books establishment here. Quite obviously, we get a lot of guests coming in, so prices are unfortunately fixed. But yes, we've been more than happy to accommodate you. We haven't got too many overnight guests today, so I'm sure that'll be fine. Is that all 5 of you there?
Yes, that would be the 5 of us. And as a librarian, I can say I do enjoy doing things by the book.
Right, yeah, of course.
He's funny.
Librarian. We don't get a lot of librarians around here. What brings you to Wrecker Isle?
Oh, well, I myself am actually doing a research piece on this disappearing isle that I've heard rumors about, and that my good friend here wrote a very lovely, though poorly written, poem about recently in one of our journals. And I'm curious to investigate its goings on, and perhaps if I can find some type of a connection or between the tides and perhaps the weather patterns, what is causing this disappearance that we sort of talk about. I'm sure it's just vanishing into the fog or something like that, but it is curious.
Are you all here for that as
I
well?
like fish.
Well, you're in the right place.
No, we all have various activities that we're here for, but we did have a unified purpose that we did travel here together.
Sightseeing.
Right. Well, okay. Okay. And she just sort of lean down near the bar and get you some keys, slide them across the desk, and pour you some drinks of what you want. When you sort of direct her, she's very quick and efficient about it and gets you your orders. Says, well, either way, enjoy your stay. Don't go around spreading that. Okay. Just whatever you're here for, just try and keep your heads down.
Sightseeing.
Right. Can all of you
don't
please?
spread. Don't spread what? I mean, I'm asking questions and I'm curious. So I'm not spreading misinformation. My goal is to discover information, and truth is a good thing.
Curiosity killed the cat, and unfortunately,
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a little dangerous around here to be going poking your nose where you're
Astral sort of leaning. Did you know that satisfaction brought it back again?
I have heard that, yeah. Very rare occasion that though. Undeath, I hear. Please roll me empathy and observation.
Oh, is that everybody who's talking to the barmaid?
That is everybody who's talking to the barmaid. And whilst we resolve this roll, Anki, could you please roll me your logic and investigation, please?
I would be most happy to.
Earlier on we got bonuses for things, and so mine was empathy manipulation. Is that you only get that when you roll an empathy manipulation roll?
Yes.
Not when you roll any empathy related stuff.
But if you would like to manipulate some information out of this person, you can for sure make that roll with the bonus when the time comes.
Okay, I won't do so yet.
On 4 dice, I got 2 successes.
Alrighty.
Not one on a bugger-ton of dice. Which is disappointing.
All right.
So, Al,
Mm-hmm.
I got 3 1s and nothing else.
Jawohl!
Okay, we resolved Dr. Anki. You very briskly, with purpose, stride your way up the stairs and towards the first floor of the inn. As you get up here, you weren't that far behind Olaus. You were maybe meters behind him. You heard his footsteps go up the stairs. You didn't hear them impact the first floor's floorboards. And as you come up into the first floor, you look around, dart left and right. It is deathly quiet up here. Despite the raucous scenes downstairs, there are very few customers on this floor. And as you look around, you see no sign of Olaus at all.
Well, that is less than satisfactory.
For those of you downstairs, those of you who rolled 1 success or more, you know for sure she's hiding something and is very nervous about what she knows.
I will lean in conspiratorially at that and be like, was it Justine? What was her name?
I will mimic this conspiratorial
Justina,
leaning in.
I'm going to look around at other people that are looking at her.
I will say, I can't think, the words aren't coming to me, but something to the effect that, declaration of, what is it, when you go to church? Confession. Confession is good for the soul, and, perhaps if you said the right things to the right people, things could change.
I don't know. It's just better not to ask these things.
The worst question is the one that you don't ask.
And sometimes that question is the last question you ever ask.
No, but life is nothing without risk.
She's trying to say that the wrong question.
I'm sorry, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't help.
What? Murdered?
Will you keep it down?
She sort of looks away from you, and Esther, you very much see this as she looks to the side. She looks towards Godmother Abella, who is sat there cleaning the gun. Her eagle-like eyes over her aquiline nose are now aimed directly at you, and they have not moved. She is taking in this entire conversation, and Justina looks nervous.
I wave.
Essentially,
she doesn't resound.
Whatever we're here for, let's just see the fishies and go home.
That would probably be the wisest option.
So, Chester, let's go see the fishies and go
Right, the
home.
fishes. Right, yes, of course. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Good. I'm putting it down on the table. It's right here on the bar.
You didn't put... Oh, right. Yes, very, very well.
Just
and
sort
then he slaps his book shut.
Justina leans into you, Father Pavel, and says, I saw that you walked in with Jeremiah. Is he okay?
I don't believe so. Something weighs heavy on his heart. I believe. I mean, from what we know, or what Lily's told us, he was close to Carl Eric. Do you know of this individual?
Please roll me your empathy and manipulation. Yeah, and at this point, it should be noted that Jeremiah didn't actually come into the inn with you. Sort of at the last moment, he did sort of peel off and sort of give you a excuse of, I'm going to the general store. Yeah, he
Oh
didn't.
no, our ablative local fleet off.
I'm not trying to deceive this person, am I?
No, you are empathy manipulationing. You're trying to get information out of them.
One
Okay.
success.
All right, I will. Since she has a chance of resisting, I will make a roll for her. Ooh. She sort of looks around and she just says, all right, just don't tell anyone I told you this. Carl, the vicar, he was here a month or so back, maybe. He had a really loud argument with Abella and Zacharias. The twins dragged him out and well, it was the triplets at that point. They dragged him out, and I don't know what happened then, but it was loud and aggressive and it didn't sound pleasant. Later on in the evening, there was another argument. It sounded like him again, but I couldn't be sure. But it was outside the warehouse, and well, arguments happen so often on this island, you learn not to really think twice about it. It's an island of drunken sailors. It's not exactly past the norm.
What day was this?
Maybe a month back.
Hmm. He was arguing with the triplets, you say?
Yeah. Paul, though, like I said, it used to be triplets. There's only 2 of them now, though.
Do you remember the sky that night?
Clear evening, I suppose. It's usually quite clear around here.
And the moon?
New moon, actually, like tonight.
Thank you.
So, what happened to Paul?
Don't know. I was told that he went on a trip to Gothenburg, but he left in a hurry, I guess.
Hmm.
Oh, that is a terrible place, Zangi, as she returns to the scene.
Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't like it very much, so I moved here. Yeah, works hard, but pays well.
And this warehouse that you say that you heard them arguing outside, where do you know where about this is?
Oh, yeah.
What it contains?
It's the big yellow one. It's the herring storage. They cook it down into train oil there.
Right.
You're asking all the boring questions. Also, the
I'm
island.
asking the important questions.
No, you're asking the boring questions. The island. The night of the argument, was the island around?
What? And it's sort of as you're saying this, you hear a very loud across from you as the older woman has deposited her shotgun beside the liquor barrel and walked up. And she says, Justina, don't you think it's time you got back to work, love? And gives her a very pointed look, and Justina says, yes, godmother, of course, at once. And sort of goes about her businesses again. Very, very hurriedly walks off into the kitchen and sort of passes a barmaid and asks her to take up residence at the bar instead. And after this has been accomplished, Abella sort of gives you all very stern looks and goes to turn back and head towards her barrel.
See, now that is the important question.
That it may be, but it stopped us from asking any further questions.
I don't need to know the answer. Let's go.
As you
think it is good to depart the scene right now.
as you go to leave, the door opens up again, and you're maybe a couple of meters away from it. And the unpleasant-looking man who left before, sort of the mashed-in nose, walks back in, heads over to the man with the cauliflower ear, sort of the similarly awkwardly rough-looking twin, and they have a low conversation as you're both as you're all gravitating towards the door. And before you manage to reach the door, both of them make a beeline towards you.
Hello.
So what happened this time that we have acquired some unwanted attention?
Oh, I smell like fish.
Hello there, welcome to Wrecker Isle. My name is Pete. This is my brother Pace. What brings you to our fair island today?
He's hitting on me.
Fish.
I assure you not, ma'am.
Oh, that's a shame.
Fish.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are. I myself am much like a bird watcher, but I'm kind of a fish watcher. So I'm curious about various fish industries and how they are utilized. I'm writing a book actually on the boil down process and how it might actually be improved through various other like whale oil and other methods. So yes.
Please make me a empathy and manipulation roll.
Four.
I believe in you. You can do this.
Can somebody help this
I'm
poor
about to say,
person?
can I assist with this?
Can,
As
yeah.
I shouted out fish.
Sure.
Fish!
If I could help, but in a completely different way, I planned on getting out the bucket of fish guts and being like, I'm going crabbing. You know, I was just gonna say I'm going crabbing.
Can I get a circumstantial bonus from my bookworm that I've read about, you know, both these things or about deception and possibly get a circumstantial bonus?
Unfortunately not, but you can add an additional 2 dice from your compatriots helping you out, albeit in their own bumbling ways.
That's what we do. Bumble.
I mean, who the hell walks
Buck
in?
Bumble.
Success.
Speaking of the bees.
Success.
Nice.
Who the hell walks in with a bucket of fish guts?
They give
it'll
you
distract
a
everyone.
long look, and whilst one of them sort of goes, "Oh, all right," sort of the one who's talking, Paul, goes, "Yeah, okay, sure." The other one looks completely like he doesn't believe you at all, and both of them, whilst having this conversation, have sardonic grins across their faces the entire time.
I offer him a Dewey Decimal card with my name written on the back, and it's the actual book that it's for is The Everlasting Mother, which was a treatise on flowers in the north of Spain.
Oh, well, thank you for this. I'll make sure to put it in my folder for later. As you sort of have this conversation, the other one sort of leans into his brother. He says, all right. So, the boss is always interested on keeping an eye on the comings and goings of this here Wrecker Isle, and you all being new folk, especially if you're new in the fishing industry, he of course would be interested in meeting with you and discussing business. Maybe seeing if you can't set up maybe a little something to do with getting the foot in the door with the local trade. So you do have an open invitation to dinner with the Herring King himself, Zacharias, my brother, this evening. It will be happening just as the sun sets over the horizon line. He likes to have dinner just as it hits the water over there. It's really quite the view from the dining room. I do recommend you go.
Oh, does he have to have dinner then? That's when all the crabs like to have dinner too.
That sounds wonderful. Does he like dogs? Because I have a little dog, and I hope that doesn't, I hope no one's allergic or anything.
No, not at all. We have a fair amount of hounds on this here island. I'm sure yours will fit in just fine.
The Herring King.
I
Yes,
guess
we'd love
better
to.
do now because we don't want to miss crabs.
Well, we'll see you all for dinner then, I guess. Looking forward to it.
So how much
Sounds
time do we
wonderful.
have?
Maybe 2-3 hours.
Sounds about right for October.
Yes, we'll be along presently. Just pull out my watch and say yes. See you at dawn at the dining room. Look forward to the view. Come, let us away, friends. We should explore this lovely village and take in the sights.
I
Ingrid is,
believe that is
rushing out
very
of the
well
door.
said.
Yeah, as you all hurriedly make your exit, you hear, as the door shuts behind you, you hear one of the brothers let out a mechanical sounding laugh that sounds more like an alarm than it does an expression of any emotion. And you do eventually find yourself back out into the overcast day here on the island.
Dr. Anki will briefly turn to Chester as they walk out, sort of like side alongside, up next to him, going, well, I'll say this much. I've utterly convinced that you have utterly convinced them that we are of no possible threat.
I am
So
sorry.
very
Well,
well done, my young
it's
man of
often-
Herringdew.
Well, thank you. It's often good to slip in unnoticed, even when you stand out in a crowd, and do your best to gather the information without the difficulties of other people that could be
Yes.
poisoning the pot, so to speak. I think we definitely need to find our friend who I noticed slipped off, and maybe something along the lines of more details about this supposed murder. Perhaps the death.
I think you have to
site?
interrupt him, Ingrid.
I know I have so many things to say. I am sorry.
Apologies, Chester.
I'm also really sorry for
I
cutting
tend
off
to
Father
ramble.
Pavel. I did not mean to cut you off, Father Pavel. I just didn't think we should be talking anymore with them, considering as I have some important news to share. Of course, you must not ask me my sources. You will not like them.
What do you have to share, Ingrid?
Does this have anything to do with the bucket?
It's going to be
It has something
crabs.
to do with the
It's-
bucket.
It
doesn't
has
it?
everything to
Or
do with the
crabs.
bucket and everything to do with not the bucket. And I look around, looking around to see if there's anyone listening. Because I want to get out of earshot of these guys and the tavern and just be like,
No, there's no one listening. You do see your contact Jeremiah as he is leaving the general store, however. But before this happens, could all of you please make me? Let's have a look. See here. What would be best? Let's say logic and observation.
Oh, excellent.
logic was terrible. Observation. Where are you?
Okay.
Wait.
I got nothing.
Oh, logic and observation. That is a rare combo.
Uno.
One again.
Uno.
Dos.
Un, dos, tres, cuatro. Woolly herring.
Okay, did anyone get a 2 or higher?
2.
All right. As you all stand there, you hear in your ears, as you are discussing these things, a whooshing, rushing noise that almost causes vertigo in your brain as it gets louder and louder and becomes a roar in your mind. Dr. Anki, you hear this roar and you sort of shut it out and you think, no, I've got better things to do, go away. And you sort of try and shut out whatever is trying to gain entry. But you very much, the rest of you feel this presence pressing in on your temples as something that you are not seeing on the island begins to show itself to you. Father Pavel and Esther, as you are standing there, you are no longer standing there. You find yourself floating, no swimming, no drowning. You're paddling. You are deep in this water and there is no way out and you are surrounded. There is no up, there is no down, there is no westerly direction, there is no compass directions of any sort, there are no landmarks, there is just the crushing deep and the darkness, and it is rushing into your lungs with a chill like the grave, and you are beginning to panic. And as you look up, you finally begin to spot what looks like a pinprick of light. Maybe it's the sun, maybe it's something, maybe it's hope, and you try to swim towards it, and it's at that moment that you feel a hand wrap around your ankle and drag you deeper. Ingrid and Chester, you have the same vision, but from a different perspective. You are swimming along, and you are the master of your domain. You are peaceful, you are tranquil, and you are the Lord here. This is your kingdom. And then you look up and you see an interloper, a trespasser, treading water, making a noise, making a fuss in your kingdom, your domain. You lunge towards them, grab them by the ankle, and drag them towards the depths. And with that, you all snap back into reality, back into the overcast day and the clouds, and each of you, and you realize that you've just copped up seawater. Dr. Anki, you've just watched your friends all blank out for at least 10 seconds and then cough up seawater.
I've already got my smelling salts out. Like, Father, oh, well, you're back. Oh, and I'm wet. This is unwelcome.
That was so bizarre.
It tastes like fish. And seaweed.
There was water, and I think I was a fish. It was very disheartening. I don't do well with odd visions and dreams, and this is very disheartening.
This is exactly what I'm trying to tell you. Okay.
I'm drowning.
Yes, that's very nice, dear. Wait, you were drowning?
You were
Okay,
drowning.
well, I apologize. That's my fault. Anyway.
What?
I mean, like, I imagined I was creature and I pull thing down to ground, so I assume you are thing. I put two to... it's math. It's always math. Okay, all right.
So you saw from the perspective of the thing that pulled me down?
If you ask me one more question, bookworm, I will literally turn you into paper.
You were trying to drown us.
No, I'm trying to tell you that the island is a creature.
We understand. You think it's a crab.
I mean, it might be a crab. There is still that possibility. It could be giant crab. But
That's a fascinating idea.
But
There
the
is
creature
precedent for
doesn't
that.
eat fish. It attracts the fish and eats bigger things. And it's a new moon today. And it was a new moon when the argument happened. And I'll probably bet my bottom that he was also murdered on a new moon. I bet it.
It's as you're sort of exclaiming this that you hear a behind you, and Jeremiah is stood there holding a paper bag. He's like, "Whoa, what? Are you all right? What? You're all a little shaken.
I was a sea creature. I pulled down my friends. I killed them all, and then I cough up thing, and then I tell them that I am a genius, and they're asking me questions about drowning.
Okay.
Also, I have a bucket of
The young
fish
lady
and I
has a
killed
very
them.
serious, if very useful condition.
I also
Right.
would really like to go crabbing now.
Cool. Good. Have fun. I'm gonna keep looking around.
Okay, don't go to dinner with anybody. Don't trust the people who own this place.
Okay. I'll be sure to do that.
Jeremiah,
Yes.
is there any? Have you ever experienced any visions? A sudden rushing sound in the ears, and then you feel like you're a fish or you're being drowned. And have you ever coughed up seawater?
I just did.
Outside of the sea.
I just did.
Well, I mean, I have been having very odd dreams when I have been on this island. Sort of visions of drowning, visions of some sort of creature in the ocean, that sort of thing. Seems.
Have you ever been drawn towards the sea itself?
Not really. I have no great love of it. In fact, I get kind of seasick. So, not particularly.
Okay, very interesting.
So large creature looks like island isn't island and probably eats bigger things, and people go missing and bodies are not found.
Well, there.
Well,
I
what you
look at the
found-
bookworms and Father Pavel and Dr. Aggie. I look at all the smart people very potently like,
There is precedent. I mean, there are folk tales of living islands and moving things like that. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
Just probability.
Sort of as you're all pondering this, what would you like to do? You have maybe a couple of hours before sunrise.
I think heading to the area where the barn was is
The
probably-
warehouse.
Yeah,
Okay.
personally, I don't know about you guys.
I would like to go
yeah.
and see the ocean, but I will go to this warehouse.
Okay, yeah. So sort of you all make your way over towards this thing. It's a very close island. When you are standing at one point outside, you can see all other points. It is not a very. It would be hard to get lost here. The warehouse is bigger than the Baron's own personal abode, and it sort of forms a very hulking, stinking jewel in Wrecker Island's crown. At the very back end of the building, there's sort of a train oil boiler that's sticking out pungent gases, sort of as if the stench of the fish weren't enough, to be honest. Sort of paired with this train oil, it is absolutely overwhelming, and you sort of find yourself having to keep a few steps back and sort of cover your noses with linens or handkerchiefs. As it's still sort of daylight hours, the warehouse is swarming with activity as sailors put sort of crates in and out, and you can look inside the big sort of open double doors of this place to see the noise of orders and affirmatives being barked back and forth. Hearing yourselves think is a little tricky the closer you get to the warehouse, simply because of the din of the workday. Inside the double doors, though, you can see 3 vats of train oil being cooked up, and the heat that rolls out of this thing in waves is absolutely just, it's all a bit much sensory overload wise as you get closer. But as you sort of maybe circling the building a little bit, trying to get to a better idea, you do see that there is in fact a back door into the ground floor of the building.
I'm going to suggest to you, I'm going to go and try to talk to the manager about the boiling opportunities in regards to the book that I'm working on. Wink, wink. While the
You are
rest of
making a
you could
distraction.
perhaps, yes, while the rest of you perhaps could try to surreptitiously insert yourselves into the location. So I will be right over here. And I'm going to try to find a manager and pull their attention away, asking very detailed, complicated questions about the exact temperatures and how do they bring it up and what do they use as a fuel oil and da-da-da-da-da-da, like looking very officious and taking lots of notes.
I don't
Hey.
think Chester should be left alone doing this, so I will follow, because I'm genuinely afraid the poor boy will get himself killed.
I fear the same for Ingrid.
So she's under your...
It's cracking this thing wide open.
Okay,
Oh,
so
we are all cracking, Ingrid. We are all cracking here.
we will split therefore into 2 scenes. We have Chester and the good doctor making their way towards the front of the warehouse very officiously. Chester, you have your books out, your notes ready. Dr. Anki, you already look rather official with your medical bag on full display. No one stops you. You both look like you are meant to be there. Could you please roll me your empathy and manipulation, and one of you who has the highest empathy and manipulation may take a dice for the other's help.
I have only empathy, no manipulation, so that's 4 points.
You are muted, my good doctor. There you go.
Ah,
I
right.
mean, I think everybody knows my plan.
Then I will be helping you, because you already unmodified have twice as much as I do.
Okay. Please roll your pool of 6. And for the rest of you, you are sneaking into the back of this warehouse. It is a very flimsy looking door held shut only by a rusted looking padlock. Could those of you who are trying to do the break-in, please roll me your... how are you trying to get past this padlock? We'll determine this with RP.
What does the padlock look like? Does it look like it's old, or does it look like it's well kept, or how does it look?
It's sort of a it looked like once upon a time it was a very, very, very state-of-the-art sort of security system for the time, but significant years have passed, and given that it is in a extremely rough environment for any sort of metal to be present in, it would require constant maintenance for it to not rust. It has accumulated significant rust and erosion around where the lock actually clicks into place. You get the idea that it's probably not quite as sturdy as it used to be.
Okay. So does it look like if I had some kind of leverage I could pop it open, or does it look like the actual mechanism, like the wood of the door isn't very good, or is it specifically more the lock that looks like the weak point?
It looks like a bit of both. So there are many ways you could potentially go about this. If you wanted to try and pop the hinges off, that is one option.
Lean on it a bit.
if you wanted to try and actually dislodge the lock, then that is another option you could take.
Just try your credit card on the padlock.
Contact us.
I'll see if I can find something that looks like it's sturdy enough to like pop the lock.
Okay.
Pull out a dagger.
We will roll your. We will roll all of this into one roll then. So please roll your physique and your. No, let's say precision and force for this one. Whichever one of Father Pavel, Ingrid, or our good writer friend has the highest.
I have 4 in precision.
I have 5 in precision.
You do it.
3.
Okay.
Okay.
And add 2 additional dice for your friend's help.
Okay. That's 3. I only have 3 dice, so you'll have to bear with me. It may sound like I'm rolling a lot. I am.
It's fine.
I got 1 success.
All right, we will resolve that ever so shortly. Coming back round to the front of the house, we see our 2 officious-looking individuals meander their way up through the crowds of sailors. You manage to sort of push through the noxious odor and the heat rolling out of this place, sort of skirting around the outside, trying to keep out the direct line of the double doors where it seems to be the worst. And you do come across a sort of an older gentleman, balding, sort of a woolen cap pulled over his ears, a long coat with as much waterproofing as humanly possible painted onto it, sort of holding a clipboard, has a few notes on him, and he seems to be the one giving the orders around here as you approach.
Hello, good sir. Now I'm being trying to maintain a visage of authority and like deliberately not letting the smell get to me. Even though occasionally there will be like but for the most part, I'm trying to stay focused. I got 1 success on that, and I'm like, hello, my name is Chester Braithwaite. I'm a librarian inquisitor, researching a book about the different methodologies that you're using here to boil your herring into oils. And I was just wondering if we could spend a few minutes, maybe even get a bit of a tour, perhaps. And this is my associate, the lovely Dr. Salo, here to assist. What can you tell me about this facility?
Which university you say you were with?
I forget the name, but...
Yeah, Uppsala. It will be Uppsala University.
Yes, the Uppsala Library. I work in the basement stacks, various researches, and I've been working on my own series of pamphlets and hopefully journal entries in an attempt to improve the quality of these methodologies here.
Well, all right. I mean, as you can see, we're very, very busy, sir. So I will make this quick. But seeing as you're from an institute, I'm assuming the harbour masters pointed you in our direction, have they?
Oh yes, I spoke with the godmother and the gentleman at the inn recently about my intentions, and they said I should feel free to investigate all I like.
The godmother said it was okay.
Well, not the godmother exactly. She overheard the conversation, but I did speak with I believe it was Pete. I spoke with him about my intentions, and he said, "Well, have a wonderful day."
Oh right. Oh, I see.
I would like to lean in here towards this manager.
Mm-hmm.
Having said about 2 words, one of them in Finnish, before this, look him dead in the eye and say, yes, and there is no more questions. And I would like to try to trigger my ability of causing fear.
Absolutely. Okay, please, is that me making a roll or you?
It is you making a roll of either what a normal fear test is against my fear rating.
So empathy or logic.
Oh
Understood.
my god.
What's the rating? 1.
Which is not Finnish, but I don't speak Finnish.
He stares at you and sort of balks slightly. Like there's a moment where you think he's going to crack under the severity of your gaze, but in that moment, both of you sort of get this impression that I know this trick. I've done this trick before. And you get sort of a mutual respect that comes from him at your attempt to intimidate him. Like that combined with Chester's I was sent by Payson Abella, he finally is like, you know what? All right. You have 10 minutes of my time. Allow me to show you around. And with that, he does sort of step in between the two of you and begin to lead you around the herring warehouse here, sort of pointing out the various implements. He talks you through the ins and outs of the various equipment, the benefits of certain cooling procedures, the benefits of certain times of the day for cooling, the benefits of certain times of the day for boiling, sort of how they deal with the herring and how that's all maneuvered and the processes and everything else. Chester, it's actually quite fascinating. Dr. Ranky,
yes.
for fuck's sake, this is ridiculous.
Hey, it beats the morgue.
For sure, yes.
For now.
For now. The rest of you, how many successes did you get to pop the door?
One.
One, okay,
One.
and were you going with the method of popping the hinges or fighting the lock?
I think we're going for the lock.
Going for the lock?
Going for the lock.
You managed to find some sort of crowbar or implement lying around, and you sort of slide in between the lock proper and the sort of tines holding it closed. You just, with all your might, you sort of press down on it and you give it a kick or so, trying to get the leverage on this thing. And eventually, you hear a complaint of rusted metal as it shatters, and the lock comes apart in your hands.
Hooray!
I hold the
Consummate
lock.
professionals.
Look like, yeah, success. I then wait
Well
for Father
done.
Pavel to open the door.
Yep, I'll turn the handle and push the door open.
Okay.
If there's a vase
All right.
in there, he gets eaten first.
If there's a person in there, I get to talk to them first before you weird them out.
Okay, no worries. I'm going to make a roll real quick.
You're just jealous of my fish.
Wow.
As you all go inside, can you all please roll your precision and what is the stealth mechanic in this? Yeah, precision and stealth. There we go. I'm never quite
there is,
sure
yeah.
where all the abilities lie. Sometimes I get confused.
Do I
in my
have to
brain.
roll for Tova?
Whatever you say it is what it is. It's the way it works.
True.
I have 8 dice for this roll.
Tova is a small being. You reckon she'll be fine?
Okay.
And I rolled a 0.
Oh no!
8
Oh my
dice!
goodness.
And I didn't
Right,
get a
so
single success.
Father Pavel's literally going to open the door like, hello, pretty much, because I got nothing as well.
Would any of you like to push your luck for a reroll?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Do it for the fish, Ingrid. For the fish!
How do I push my luck?
Father Pavel, would you like to join?
I've got 3 dice. Yes, got it. Why not? Yes.
Okay. All right, everyone is pushing their luck. Fantastic. All of you, you are going to take a condition as defined by the upcoming RP.
Oh no.
And all of you,
Oh no.
as a note, all of your previous conditions will
Oh,
have been
thank
healed
God.
from the previous mystery, so don't worry, you're fine. It all went new.
Oh, Pads, I've just killed my character.
You're good. You're Gucci fast. You're fine. Conditions will reset after every mystery,
Okay.
unless you are broken, in which case that's a different problem. You all will take a condition upcoming relating to trying to find your way in here quietly. But for now, please, all of you, re-roll your failed dice.
That's every single dice. 1.
I got 1.
Okay. All right.
I got 2.
Everyone's two twos and a 1. Wow, fantastic. Everyone succeeded. I'm so proud.
That was so
Consider our luck pushed.
Oh, I have done, and I am so excited. You all pushed your way into this building, and as you go in, you see as a patrol of what seems to be 3 or 4 sailors chattering about the workday, about their quotas, passes not 2 meters away from you and heads into a door down the way, and you sort of freeze up, and all of you sort of feel the heartbeat begin to rise in your chest, and you begin to feel the adrenaline pumping in your veins as you realize the situation in which you found yourself. There has been a murder on this island, and there has been an argument outside this warehouse, possibly linking to this murder, and you are now sneaking around inside this warehouse. Suddenly, the reality of the danger you've put yourselves in is slowly sinking in. All of you, please take the frightened condition as you slowly begin to realize that, oh no, maybe this wasn't the best idea. But you do find yourself in the warehouse proper, left alone in this hallway as the hubbub and kerfuffles of the workday does seem to be taking place in the warehouse proper.
All right. Now what?
I assume we're looking for anything weird or incriminating.
You do see as down the hallway from here, there is a what seems to be some sort of office.
Okay. Well,
Maybe.
why do you talk so loud?
Okay, just calm.
I'm just
Calm.
saying we're walking down murder alleyway in the murder place with the murder.
Well, we should have discussed this before, but for now,
It's okay.
let's just go.
Let's just go to the office and not worry about the fact that we're in a murder factory.
Ingrid,
What?
shush.
Sorry. Okay. And Ingrid's gonna like almost Scooby-Doo tiptoe all the way down to the office.
Oh, we are Scooby-Doo. We've got the dog and everything.
Oh my God. I didn't want to be the one to say it.
Love it. Love it so much.
All right, as you all make your way, again, very Scooby-Doo style, Tova trotting along beside you, looking up, or you trying to stealth along, like, what is wrong with you all? You all make your way towards the office at the back here, managing to avoid detection as yet more clouds of sailors sort of pass by the front of the doors and things. You sort of shut them behind you as you go. And open the door at the very back of this hallway that seems to be ever so slightly ajar, sort of unveiling shelving units stacked with manila files and such like. As you open it, you sort of see a well-appointed and very well-organized space here. There are bookshelves on the walls that have what seems to be sort of organizational folders of maybe the ledgers of business. On the desk there are similar ledgers that have been opened and actively worked on. There is a briefcase in the corner, and sort of apart from that, it's very sparse. There is no windows in here either. It is a very insular room, but there is a tang, almost a scent that you can't quite figure out what it is, but there's something else besides the herring and besides the oil. There's something else here. All of you, please roll me a logic investigation as you're taking a look around this office.
Like to note that Esther is also taking pictures of stuff to review later.
Okay.
Investigation. Ooh, I can add +2 for my camera for that as well.
Fantastic.
Crud. I'll
Wow,
get that dice.
so
in
many
there.
fives.
Was that logic and an investigation?
Ooh.
Investigation. 1.
Fantastic. Okay, 1. And we will wait for our lovely writer.
Oh, I got a 2.
Oh, 2. Fantastic. Okay, so each of you, Father Pavel, you're not sure. You just know that you are in a place where you shouldn't be, and it's ever so slightly stressing you out. Ingrid, you take a look around, and you do see in the corner here, Esther, you sort of clock this as well, as you're both scanning this corner of the room. In front of the desk, where this sort of other chair, there are sort of 2 chairs here. There's like one behind the desk, which is a very well-appointed sort of plush office chair with good lumbar support. But the other chair is sort of a rickety oaken job, which very clearly is made for guests to be seated yet not comfortable. And as you are scanning this chair, you notice that the actual back of the chair has fractured slightly in place where sort of one's ribs would be at the back. And furthermore, there is blood spatter ingrained in the wood. And as you sort of follow this train of thought and you look down, Esther, you notice as you're following this blood spatter trail, that's very, very light. It's almost like someone has tried to clean it but not quite gotten everything. There is a cross pendant lying by the side of the desk, crusted with dried blood
Ooh.
and
So
left disregarded.
I am going to. Oh, right. I'm going to pull out a handkerchief and I'm going to grab it, wrap it up, and put it in my pocket.
Okay.
But I will obviously take pictures of it before I touch it, but.
Yep.
Could I
This place is creepy.
pick up the briefcase that you mentioned?
Yeah, of course you can. It is locked with some sort of number combination of some kind. It seems to be 7 different numbers, all in different sort of positions.
I think this might be something that we look at a later point in time.
Yes.
This might not be the correct place to be trying to
No, I completely
get
agree.
into a briefcase,
Standing
and
on the
I'll
surface, sorry.
try to almost put it in my like robes or what have you.
Okay.
Have it under my
sure.
arm.
Please make me a preemptive
I offer him the fish bag.
Oh lord, a precision and stealth to try and hide this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I attempt to
Trespassing
help him?
and theft. We really are the heroes.
So heroic.
Nailed
oh my
it.
goodness.
I'm
Hashtags nailed
totally
it.
gonna try and
Speak
help
for
him
yourself,
hide it
guys.
when
We're being legit over here.
Would you say I'm being deceptive?
Yeah, I would say that absolutely falls under this.
Alright.
Can I help?
You sneaky shit.
I want to try and help him.
Oh yeah, add an additional dice for Ingrid's help. But you do notice, Ingrid, as Father Pavel is doing this, he seems very adept at this sort of thing.
No, he doesn't.
Oh dear. Or at least he would be,
You
but the
would
dice not.
think he seems, but does not.
He did up until the point you noticed.
Yeah, he gets embarrassed. He gets embarrassed and puts it away for sure. Yeah, right.
Drops it.
No
In the
successes.
fish. I don't know.
No.
Okay. I will make you the same bargain. If you would like to push your luck, you may.
Sweet.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
For God's sake. Literally, for God's sake.
Oh,
Okay.
I got
This
6
is
of 12
going
dice in total.
This is going so well.
Where is
no.
your cod now?
And
Oh, wait, if you
unfortunately,
get 6 ones, does that count?
cancel everything out, right? Unfortunately, you are going to take the angry condition, Father Pavel, as you
I'm
Again.
gonna
try
get
and hide
angry,
this.
angry at my own
with help.
robes because I can't get it in.
And you are going to sort of I think you maybe lash out at Ingrid. I think maybe you see her as the source of your problems in this moment, as she's sort of haphazardly trying to help you hide this thing, and she's sort of putting her grubby hands all over you in your robes, which you have earned with dedication and time, obviously. And yeah, I think you're gonna lash out at her.
I'll pretty much like put the briefcase in her and just shove it over. You take that then, and sort of just almost push.
Yeah.
I put it in the fish bag.
Okay. It goes in the fish bag.
In the fish bag.
right. I take another cursory glance around. I think we've got everything from here. We should probably leave before we get caught.
I agree.
I Scooby-Doo sneak on out.
Okay. As you're sort of making your way out of here, you eventually do find yourselves once again out of the building and back into the landscape proper. You just avoid sort of the staring eyes of a couple of sailors, but you get the idea that maybe someone out there is talking shit to their manager. Maybe they're not getting quite as many orders barked at them right now, and therefore aren't in such of a hurry. And as you guys sort of reconglomerate back outside of the warehouse, Chester and Ingrid, you hear a voice in the back of your head. Ingrid, you know this voice. You know it well.
Yay.
Or at least you think you did.
Yay.
This isn't them. Chester, you don't know this voice at all. You don't recognize it. There is a foreign voice in the back of your head that is singing in a language neither of you understand, and it is a low, lilting tune that sounds almost like a music box that has been left too long, whose gears have slowly grinded down to nothing. And it lasts maybe 10 seconds, as almost as if it's an ice cream van that's going past at a steady clip, and you're aware that it's there, but you can't quite see it, and maybe it's too far away for you to be really sure that you're hearing it at all, but no, it's there, and then just as quickly as it comes, it's gone.
Did anyone else hear that?
Jinx!
What does that mean?
It means you now owe me a beverage.
Oh, I'll make a note. Or is that a joke?
I mean, unless you're going to buy me the beverage.
Sure, I'd love to buy you. I mean, I'd more than happy.
What did you hear?
Oh, song, music, maybe. Don't know. Slow it down.
Yes, I'm still trying to resolve the notes. They were a little out of tune, and the speed was a little bit
like
off.
Father Pavel singing in the shower.
In a foreign language.
Yes, that's Father Pavel singing in the shower.
Oh, I see.
Slow it down, off key, completely no rhythm, and in completely incomprehensible words.
That is my time to do what I want to do.
Unfortunately, it's my ears you're doing it to.
Okay, we've all.
Father Pavel, did you feel attacked?
The house is large enough for you to, move to another area of the house if you don't like my singing.
You live in a castle! Why are you hanging outside a shower room?
Exactly!
It has the best acoustics.
Ask the important questions!
Anyway.
Yeah.
As you're all sort of having this conversation, you do notice that the sun is starting to set.
We must go! We are going to be late for
So
dinner.
wait, are we going? You said don't go to dinner.
Oh yes,
but
'cause
now
we're
we are
totally
going to dinner.
to be probably killed and fed to some giant fish. But at least we then get to meet giant fish.
Did
Did
we take the suitcase with us from the room? By the way.
Yes, it's in my bag.
Igrid has it.
The what?
Okay.
The what?
We should probably not take that with us to the Baron's house. So we should probably drop that somewhere and then go.
You do have rooms.
I agree.
I agree with Esther.
All right, so
we'll explain what we found later.
To be honest, we don't know what we found.
Well, I found something terrible.
We did find something terrible, yes.
Okay, so to the Avernus residence via the rooms. Easy enough. You walk inside, you deposit your various things. As you go inside, you do notice that Bella is still there. Actually, no, she's not. It's an interesting one. As you go inside, Justina is still there, certainly, behind the bar. But the 3 members of the family that you met earlier are not. And you begin to make your way towards the well-appointed townhouse at the back of the island. It's a beautiful building. It's a very stately construction, good repair. The lights that come from inside of it as the sky begins to mingle with its blues and mellow oranges and pinks that bathe the landscape in a gentle yellow are very, very welcoming. Yes, James.
Does it look like a new construction compared to everything else, or something that probably has been here for 100 years and was refurbished?
Bit of both. It looks like the actual design of the house, the architecture itself, is pretty old. You would probably, I won't make you roll for this, you'd have a good idea. You could probably say 18th century, early 18th century building, but it's in very, very good nick and has very clearly had recent renovations and recent money injected into refurbishing it slightly. As you walk up to the door, I imagine you knock, and it opens to reveal a very sort of stoic-looking middle-aged woman, thick muscles sort of showing through tunic, linen apron, hair sticking to her face slightly from a hard day of labor. On her lower arm, which is displayed by her rolled-up sleeves, is a tattoo in the shape of an anchor. She smiles at each of you in turn and says, the dinner guests, I presume?
Hi, I'm Esther.
Esther, a pleasure.
Chester Braithwaite.
Chester,
Father Pavel.
Father Pavel.
Dr. Anniki Kirska Sankisalo.
Dr. Anki, okay.
Ingrid.
Ingrid, a pleasure. My name is Lura. I am the housemaid here. I will be showing you up to dinner. If you would please follow me. And with that, she does sort of turn on her heel and lead you up into the house. You're shown into a very large entry foyer, lit chandeliers sort of throwing fractured light across this large portraiture that's over all the walls and everything else, depicting various seascapes. The lower floor seems to contain a lounge and a drawing room, but you don't really have time to sort of take it all in before Laura ushers you all upstairs towards the first floor. And there's a sort of a long corridor. At the end, another ornate staircase leads up, and rooms with gilded handles on the doors line it. You are ushered into a door directly on your right. As you step inside, the housemaid steps in with you. The door is shut behind you, and you are welcomed into an ornate dining room, all sort of golds and deep blues, with tapestries of lush, thick material covering every inch of the wall where there is not a bay window that's looking out to sea. The dying light reflecting off of the glinting waves casts a luxurious tangerine glow around the room, reflecting off of the pure silver dinnerware and porcelain plates that make up the place settings around the mahogany table. Zacharias, the herring baron, stands at the head of the table, smiling in welcome. He is flanked by Pete and Abella, who stand behind him, but there is no sign of pastes. And as he stands, he looks at each of you in turn, raises his arm and says, "Friends, welcome. So good to meet you all." And that is where we will end our session for tonight. In the dining room of the Herring Baron's personal salon. Well done, everyone. It was an absolute delight to have you all play with us tonight. Thank you, Jay, for joining us on our misadventures into the Mythic North. It's been a delight to have you as ever. And thank you, players. You've all been fantastic and letting me torment you. I hope you've had a good time. And yes. I hope everyone in chat has had a good time as well. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for everyone for joining us. Once again, keep an eye on Band of Badgers. We do fun stuff a lot of the time, a lot of the days of the week. Monday, we have Great British Brush Off. Tuesday, we have this nonsense. I believe we have Runelords again on Fridays. Thursdays, phenomenal. Yep. And we have Vampire on Sundays as well. And we have Chris's podcast. We love Chris's podcast. It's amazing. You should all go have a look at it. It's on Podbean. It's fantastic. Please remember to give Better Backstories a look. Check on Twitter under Better Backstories 22. And
no, just Backstories 22 on Twitter and Instagram. Better Backstories wouldn't fit. So, but I do want to say I dropped this in the chat a little while ago. I've recently lowered my costs, but I had to make 2 separate links on PayPal, one for US shipping, one for international shipping. And even though the total cost for the international shipping is $30, I will mark the item under $15 so it'll slip right through customs.
Great. Thank you, Jay, and thank you once again for being here, and thank you once again, chat. We love you all. Thank you, Freely, for your support. You're the best. Yay, Freely. And we will be back again, same bat time, same bat channel, once again with Jay as the magnificent Chester and these lot as the malevolent dipshits that they are. As they face down the Herring Baron in a social standoff to end all social standoffs. Gonna be fun. So
hopefully we won't.
Next time at 9 p.m. GMT. Love you all so much. Thank you for your support. Catch you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Ciao.